the professional.
Blessed by Gandhi, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her era lore. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. The field's not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
borders.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits. Yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. Had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
GM, welcome to Coffee with Captain. I'm Cap. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Hope you're having a great week so far. We got a interesting day today. I think we might have one, maybe 2 special guests, maybe 0 special guests. It is we're going to keep you guessing, myself included. But even if they're not able to join us, we will have, we'll get into all the deets today. I don't know if I've ever said that before my entire life, not on this show or anywhere, but sometimes things just, words or half of words just come out of my mouth. You never know what you're going to get, what I'm going to say, what guests are going to join us. But what you do know is we are live on X Video, X Audio, YouTube, and Abstract. All those links are pinned up top, as well as the reminders for the rest of the week. If you've not yet hit those, go smash those. Go smash all the buttons. You know what to do. Appreciate all of our early GMers. We got Mayhem and English NFT over in the YouTube streets. I think Abstract is on. It's like check, knock, knock. Don't see Teacher Katie over there, so we might need to do a wellness check here if we don't see a wild Katie appear in seconds or minutes over in the Abstract streets. But yeah, got a lot to get into this morning, including Robinhood. Robinhood chain in particular is to 2026. As ETH was to 21.22, as Solana was to 23.24, and as Hyperliquid was to 20.25. That's my bold take. I know I'm not maybe the only one saying this, but what I am seeing is what I feel is a surprising amount of bears on Robinhood chain. In particular, my post this morning got a lot of pushback that it's just going to fizzle and fade. It's just hype. It's not going to be, it's not going to last. I think you got to brush off that bear market PTSD. There's going to be some memes will go to zero. I'm not saying stockbrokers are going to zero. They could pull back. They could dip from here. I'm not talking about any particular asset, I feel like I'm missing something. What do I need to do? There's definitely something. Oh, we'll get the Coffee with Captain account in the audience. That's it. I knew there was something on my checklist, my mental checklist that was not complete. But I think we are now all the links up top, those reminders, and Coffee with Captain accounts in the audience. So yeah, I think we are all the things, all the to-dos checked. There's Teacher Katie. Now that was it. That's what I was lacking, was a Teacher Katie GM in the abstract chat. Now that we're live, we can get rolling. Speaking of abstract, continue to get my 62 to 6,500 XP every week. Thank you very much. Whoever changed it back to reward the streamers, greatly appreciated. At one point, I thought gold tier 2 was unattainable. Now we've got gold tier 3 in our sights. So love to see it. And yeah, I might have said those exact words, not even realizing they were Simple Farmers words, Dobbins, because I do think maybe not everyone's lunch. I think Robinhood is, per the title, Robinhood Chain is the Charizard of base. I think it's evolved. I think we've got real second mover advantage. I think a much more connected leadership team from Vlad on down. I'm not going to go back there and pick on Jesse and Brian again, but I just think they've got a lot more motion, not just in the crypto Twitter space. I didn't realize it until recently that Robinhood, the company, is valued at about 2 times the market cap of base. And I think some of the bear market PTSD comes into play. We're like, well, Blast didn't last, or what's going on in Monad, or Mega ETH didn't deliver what some of us, self-included, thought it might deliver. While we're still streaming on Abstract, what's their flagship DApp? There's been a lot of excitement around some of these new chain launches that quickly seemingly fizzles and fades, and attention just dies quickly. Once the hype settles, once the new shiny toy wears off, people just move on. I think this is very different. English NFTs on my side here says Cash Cat might be the 2026 Pepe, both born in the bear summer. If Robinhood can persist, no reason Cash Cat can't. Maybe it's Cash Cat, maybe it's Stonkbrokers, maybe it's something that hasn't even launched yet on Robinhood chain. But I think it's very different from, quite frankly, maybe any chain that's come before it. I don't know. You all tell me. Like, has there been and I don't know how much capital they actually put behind Robinhood chain. I know the Alchemy team. We probably should just get Alchemy on here. I know they've helped launch the chain, but I don't know. Has there been another chain that's been launched with a parent company that's worth, I gotta check, nearly $100 billion? Today up another 7%. I think it's still underpriced because I think they're going to eat basis lunch if they're not already. It's up another, actually both are up today. Robinhood up, or Hood, the stock up another 7% today to $106, puts it at a $96 billion market cap, compared to Coinbase, which is up almost 10% today, up 9.61%. It's $175, but the market cap is $46 billion. So more than 2x. So Robinhood's worth more than 2x Coinbase. Has there been another chain that's been launched by a company worth $100 billion? I don't think so. Maybe Canton, I guess, if you want to count that. But I can't think of another chain that's been launched. I know some of these chains have raised a lot of money, and I'm not saying that Robinhood they're obviously not putting $100 billion into their chain, but they're not. That's like kind of the number one feedback. Oh, it's gonna go to zero. It's gonna fizzle and fade. It's like, Robinhood's not going anywhere. Could the chain lose a little momentum? Yeah, sure. But I don't, like, Base has not went anywhere. And Robinhood's 2x Coinbase. I want to get to, so I'm not picking on Nova, please, if you're tuning in, nor Diego. Big fan of Diego, but Diego says, we'll be a short hyped thing that will die later. And I said, why do you think that? And he did respond, maybe it's my PTSD because so many dead chains. Nova says, I don't think the Robinhood hype will last. Twitch asks, why not? He says, I think Robinhood hype is mostly driven by meme coins and speculation. It's part of the hype right now. Hype alone isn't enough to sustain a chain. It needs strong developer adoption. I agree. It needs real users. I agree. And a sustainable ecosystem. Also agree. Robinhood still has to prove it can build that. They do have to prove they can sustain it, but I think they've proven that they can build it. In 2 weeks, they've done this. In 2 weeks, they have strong developer adoption. They have real users. Is it sustainable? Time will tell. It's too early to the verdict to be out on that yet. But from not me saying this is the CEO of Alchemy. They hit number 1 with developer activity, not meme coin volume or trading, developer activity. Number 1 in just 2 weeks. Number 2 is Ethereum, number 3 is Polygon, number 4 Base, BNB Chain, and then Arbitrum. Have any other chains hit number 1 developer activity in their first 2 weeks? And we talk about developer activity because it's an EVM chain. I'm not saying you get a combination of Ethereum and Arbitrum, but anyone building in Arbitrum can build on Robinhood chain. For that matter, anyone building on ETH can build on Robinhood chain, and they've already jumped over to Robinhood chain. So it's like they're getting the TVL, they're getting the new wallets, they're getting the developers. It's like check, 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 check. It's where a lot of, I'm pretty sure Monad didn't do this. Pretty sure Mega ETH didn't do this. Pretty sure Barachain didn't do this. Fill in the blank, any chain that's launched. Probably, the Base was probably the closest. And yeah, I know Base still has more TVL, they have more stables today, but from a growth standpoint, a momentum standpoint, I think it's changing pretty fast. Riss, I do need to get into SBS. We'll see if we get those guys on here in the near future. I've not done any SBS drafts so far, despite being several hundred deep in Underdog. But I do need to get some SBS drafts in. Dobbins adds, Robinhood has actual distribution to the masses. Any chain launched in our bubble has done nothing because its users are us. There's no reaching the normie crowd like Robinhood can. I agree. And all that success I just mentioned, I don't know if they've even tapped into their normie crowd yet. Yes, theoretically, if someone's on Robinhood and they want to, I guess buy any of these memes, I haven't even done this. So maybe that's what I do today is dive in the Robinhood app and see how easy it is to do this. But I don't think they've made a big push yet into their normie base. So it's like they've had this success and they still have a lot of bullets in the chamber. I probably should have a better analogy than that. Platy Mama says couldn't find the space on the timeline, so is asking all of you to help repost the space. Thank you very much. Yeah, repost the space. Hit that repost, the bookmark even. No one checks your bookmarks anyways, so if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit all the buttons. Appreciate Teacher Katie, Aspiring Nobody, Tojo, Chief, Hizzy, Zombie Rob, Dobbins, all the legends in the chat. I was pleasantly surprised to wake up and find that not only do I have Apple and Nvidia and Amazon in my Stonepoker wallet, I now have Google and SpaceX and Silver. Love to see the pot growing. Currently, stock booster pot, Amazon, Nvidia, Apple, gold, silver. And I didn't see SpaceX, but I have SpaceX in my wallet. I missed the announcement that SpaceX was getting included, but I've got 0.000, actually no, 0.0014 shares total. So I will take it. Lifetime, I've got two stockbrokers and already $165 in stock rewards. We've not yet hit the point where people are talking about they're going to retire because they're earning more in stockbroker rewards than they are in their 9 to 5. That's when you sell. When people start talking about leaving their day jobs because their daily, weekly, monthly earnings, and they start annualizing those numbers, that's when you take some time off the top. That's when you take some off the top. But until then, we've got a little room to run. Jolly Elf asked, does the fancy tax software, shout out to Wake and Tax, understand these ERC 6551s? Man, don't ask me those questions. It's too early in the morning. That's a 2027 problem. I kid. You should stay on top of that stuff before 2027. But I've not asked yet. So good question, very valid question. But yeah, those are the serious questions that no one really wants to pay attention to. Hey, I see Benjamin White out there. Truly enjoyed yesterday's kickoff of It's Called Football. If you missed the episode, I pinned it up top, episode 1. We did a World Cup recap. Not really an NFL preview yet. We just kind of talked about the schedule. If you're not familiar, both NFL as well as professional football outside of the U.S., kind of on a similar timeline where we're really right now in like training camps, quickly into preseason here as August hits. But for like the next month, it's like prepping for both seasons. So both all leagues are kind of getting ready and getting their rosters aligned and getting their rookies started. And we'll get some preseason in action, some friendlies here over the next month, and then towards the end of August, more so like early September for NFL, but towards the end of August, we get rolling with full games. So yeah, if you're into either football, join us on Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern time to get a noob journey into Premier League, La Liga. I do need. It is called football. I will bend the knee and call it football. We need to think of a good way to maybe we just call NFL American football and then international football. Does that work? Does that hit? You need to think of a good way to describe the two footballs we're talking about. But you'll get a noob's perspective and all the silly questions, understanding things like the transfer market. And it was funny. I shared, my guy Joe sent me a text last night after watching the show and says, let me find it. Let's scroll back a little bit here. He says, did not realize how much of a history lesson I would get when I started exploring the sport on deep history lesson on imperialism and how some of these teams came to be, how some of the divides came to be. A lot, if you like lore, you will like international football. It is deep in the lore. But he said, yeah, great format. And I think the more curious you are, the better the show. Says you'll be able to teach him cover 2, and he'll be able to teach you the Gaijin press. Sure, I'm pronouncing that wrong. But am really enjoying it. And yeah, you get an expert in Ben's case. He can kind of guide me through my international football journey. And feels weird to call myself an expert, but I put in the hours. I'm 10,000 hours plus deep in NFL analysis and player take. So yeah, having a lot of fun with it and looking forward to mini shows. Join us again Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern. Friday shows, as the season start, Friday shows will kind of look ahead, preview the upcoming weeks, and on Tuesdays we'll recap the prior week. So should have some fun. And if anyone has any ideas or has any questions, anything else you'd like to see, we are soft launch yesterday, getting our feet under us, and we should be live. So the football spelled FUTBOL, I did ask Ben, and that's really specifically Spanish. They still call it football spelled the same way. Yeah, Riss. Go give it's Hello Ben White's the handle. Go give him a follow if you've not already. He's had some great takes on the international football, a couple mega viral posts during the World Cup, and yeah, good follow for more than just football. But Dupes says weary of Robin Hood from the GameStop short days. I see this is the other. Ooh, do we have a special guest for you all loading coming up now? They literally shut things down when they couldn't pay what they were selling. Understand that happened. I understand there's a lot of people that just aren't fans of Robinhood. I think it's in each their own. Like, hey, if you're just adamantly, if you want to boycott a chain because you don't like the parent company because of some actions they did years ago, respect. I get it. I think that's just another form of. I also think that's another form. I have no idea where this is coming from. No idea what that was. That was first. My apologies. That was kind of wild. Did anyone else hear that music, or was that just me? Did that come through? Steve, did you hear that?
That was something. I was feeling some soothed sounds. I was kind of like I was actually going to start meditating and stretching when that music came on. What was? Yeah, that was that. That's it. Like I did over 1,000 shows here with you, and that I don't know that I ever had that happen.
For a second, I had to look to see if you were off mute. I was like, is Steve like playing himself in here? Do we have a new? Is this like Steve? It was such a rare occurrence. We only get Steve every once in a while. So when he comes on now, it's like his walk-up music. This is like I was like, man, that's some interesting choice for some walk-up music, sir. I truly have no idea what that was. That was I'm at a loss for words. 1,209 shows, and I've never inadvertently played anyone walk. We've played some walk-up music before. Shout out to Riggs. Maybe we should bring that back. Maybe that should be our new thing for guests. Our new old thing is when we have guests, they have to pick their own play up song. Probably would have not been Steve's choice, but yeah. Songa says, what song was that? I have no idea what song that was. If I knew, I would share. We do have another blog from Joey. I'm going to pin that up top, and then without further ado, we're gonna bring Steve into the conversation.
Yeah, I just want to I know you probably got a lot going on, but just by I think force of reflex. I know I was gonna I think it'll be awesome. I want to chat OpenSea Mobile. I want to give away some codes to get some people on OpenSea Mobile. If you aren't, I'm loving the platform. Not just because I truly one of the reasons why I really love it is the people building it are people like myself and Adam Hollander and our Eng team who are helping shape it. And so it's people who actually like this stuff. But in true force of habit, just because I'm here on Coffee with Captain, obviously co-hosted 1,000+ shows here. I have a list of things, and I just kind of want to shoot the shit if that's cool.
Let's do it.
Just to hit it.
Let's do it. The mic is yours, sir. It's my honor and privilege to have you joining us today. So yeah, what's on your mind?
So first of all, a couple things on my mind. One, it has been so I listen in almost every day. I mean, you see me in here probably almost every day. I pop in and I've been catching up. It has just been a joy to see you become watching. One of the things I actually very much miss about this show is that I think that because we would cover it, we get to cover sort of everything. And so because we cover everything, and because the show isn't necessarily married to crypto or early stage tech, and it's sort of the show was really just, was you and me and you just kind of going through your journey of what you're interested in. Sometimes looking for asymmetrical gains. It's really fun watching you now enter Pokemon queues, kind of dabble in sports cards, starting to get into international soccer to the point where you're texting me hey, do you want a fantasy league? By the way, I not only am I in on the fantasy league, especially a season-long fantasy league, I had a friend over who was a high school friend who was hey man, if there are spots, let me know, because he has never played fantasy, but he's an Arsenal fan, so he's had a good year. But it's been really fun because almost from the other side of the wall, I get to sort of watch your interest grow in something as you slowly, become, more passionate. And you're sort of like me in the sense that I see this in my son, in myself. I see this in you. I'm sure that your daughters are the same way. We find something and we get interested, and it's not good enough to just kind of casually do it. I actually talked to my Claude about this. My Claude kind of lectures me on needing just leisure activities, which I think are overrated. But it's you need things that you just enjoy. I got into sports card just to collect sports card. Now I can tell you the hierarchy of cards, Joey's really good article, which does a really good job explaining that. I'm, knowing which product I want and knowing which product I don't want. I'm ripping packs. I'm doing it with my kids. I'm grading cards. Like, I just very bad at just casually approaching anything. And you're the same way. So like soccer was my favorite because you went from like, this is kind of exciting, I'm sort of starting to follow a little bit. Okay, I'm trying to pick a team to like, now you're like doing daily fantasy. You're understanding how those dynamics work. So it's been a joy, Cap. So like that was the first thing on my mind. It's just your new passions and sort of force ranking where they're at. I'm curious where your head's at. If you had to rank, I don't know, like your latest passions, is it football number one?
All the way. Yeah, no. Mayhem, I was about to say it's called addiction. Mayhem says it's called ADHD, probably somewhere in between, if not both. But yes, I go hard. When I find something, I don't rarely. And so I know this about myself. And so I think because of that, I am somewhat selective of things I decide to get excited about or get passionate, because I know I don't have like a half throttle way to pursue something. It's like I'm either in or I'm out. And I can I can be aware of things. I can see like headlines and like, for instance, I'm aware of the NBA right now. I'm aware LeBron needs to choose a team, and I'm getting got on X about every day with some parody account, or I don't know if the Miami Heat actually leaked that LeBron press conference. I'm aware of that stuff, but I'm not like all the way in NBA. It's like quite frankly, I probably, maybe if LeBron goes back to Cleveland, I'll care a lot more about the NBA. Otherwise, I probably won't pay much attention until the NBA playoffs. So when I started watching the World Cup, part of it was not realizing my girlfriend is super into it and knew more about the players than I did. And I mean, as you know, my oldest daughter played, a very competitive club level all the way through her junior year. So I'm like, I know the sport. I've understood the sport. I know the rules. Well, I used to think I knew the rules. VAR has maybe challenged that, my confidence in understanding the rules and offsides and things like that, a kid. But I never got into it at a professional level. I've never followed, the Premier League or La Liga, any of the European soccer. And yeah, every 4 years I'll pay attention to the World Cup. But I'm not exaggerating, Steve. I watched, not highlights, I watched nearly every single game that kicked off before 9 p.m. The 11 o'clock games, the demon hour games, I didn't even attempt. And even some of the 9 o'clock games, I watched, stay up way past my bedtime, watch those. But like the 3 o'clock games, the 5 o'clock games, I don't think there was a single one I missed. And not only was I watching the games, I was doing, I don't know, anywhere from 10 to 20 underdog drafts, kind of like daily fantasy, but it's instead of salary cap, you're drafting players for the daily. I had action every game, and I just I fell in love with the sport. So part of me is like I'm a grown man, and I got emotional. I was tearing up at the end of the finals, seeing when Messi started getting choked up. I had to hold back tears. And it's this is someone I haven't even followed his career, but I appreciate greatness so much. And part of it was I got almost mad at myself for fading a sport that I find now it's just such a fun sport, such a beautiful sport. And to think, man, I faded, for the most part, the sport for not one, but two icons, two GOATs for the majority of their career. I missed Messi and Ronaldo and everything they did for the game. All that said, man, I don't know. It seems like the sport is we talk about Wemby, is he the next face of the league, and some debate around that. And I'm a Wemby fan. I think he's awesome for the NBA. And I think the NBA will probably be okay. But I think beyond the players, it's the league itself is in a question. People complain about VAR and, it's fixed for Argentina. I don't know. And I'm not far more about European soccer than I do. To me, though, it seems like the sport is in a much better spot than the NBA from the league standpoint.
Oh, dude, it's not even close. I'll say this. I'm not and this is going to make me sound like old man yells at cloud. So first of all, I got started to get into soccer around I've always watched it since I was a kid. I've watched it with my friends. Cause so I have a couple of friends. One of my best friends growing up, he was an all-state soccer player. He played in college. He was good. His brother was great. And his dad actually ran some of these soccer camps. He's made a career off what people are saying is ruining American soccer, for what it's worth. Now he's just trying to make a career in do his thing and work within the system. But his dad actually is a big soccer guy. And I played my whole life, probably from like the moment I could walk, like there was a soccer ball at my feet through high school, because my friends were super into it. And then like intramurals in college where we got like people from the Ohio State soccer team on our intramural team, which was a nice cheat code when they like graduated like their senior year, you could put them on your soccer team. And so, yeah, like I sort of like, I've always been into it. And I think like I always watched like World Cup. And then around like the 2010 Spain year when they had that, really exciting, like, I mean, not really exciting. They're boring because they've always been boring, but like that 2010 Spain team, ironically, because I know they won with, the Sergio Ramos team and that sort of team with all those folks, and Pedro and them, David Silva, like that team, I started getting into it around that point. And I just, talked to my friends at Progressive where I was working at the time, hit the bingo card. And my friends, like were like, hey, like I'm an Everton fan. The guy over there is an Arsenal fan. My other friend's a Manchester United fan. Can you pick a team? Maybe not one of ours. And so we could all talk a lot of trash in the office. And so I watched as a free agent, ended up picking Chelsea. I don't remember if it was that year, shortly after they won the league and they started, getting really good and it was really exciting. And like the thing about watching international soccer, I like Premier League because top to bottom, it's sort of the most competitive league where, the other leagues, it's like, they're not like bad to watch. It's just a lot of them just have these stacked, like, incredibly good teams at the top. And then it's not as loaded at the bottom. Whereas the Premier League, like you could see like, a team that's like facing relegation, fighting against a team that's sort of like top of the table, which is really exciting. And so I got excited about it. I picked Chelsea, really enjoyed sort of watching that for years and watching players come and go. Two things that happened. One, and I think you'll really enjoy this. If you really get into it for the next 4 years, then when the World Cup comes around, you'll be totally patriotic for Team USA, but you won't feel affected when they get eliminated as much because I'll give you an example. I was watching, there was a wide open miss by a Spain player. I don't remember who it was, one of their forwards. And my buddy who I was watching the game with was like, man, it would have been cool if an Arsenal player scored the game-winning goal of the World Cup. It's like it made me interested in Belgium when they had Hazard and Courtois and, Lukaku and all those guys. Like, so you start to get invested in players. And so then you start to watch teams and you like start to get really invested. Like Spain had like, when they had Diego Costa and all these other players I really liked and David Luiz. And so it's like, you start to like invest yourself in players. And that makes the World Cup more interesting because not only do you know all the players the same way you would in other sports, but you get really excited about rooting for a team because you want to see your guys win. And so that's like, like again, when Spain wins, you have, sort of like, Madrid, Barcelona, like those sort of guys are just like, all over that squad because they want to play at home for the premier teams. So it's pretty fun. And you have teams you hate as well. Like you won't like France as much because you maybe won't like PSG and all these things. So it makes it a fun experience. It's similar to you. Like, look, I'm similar to you. Like football, I love NFL football. I think the game's really well done. I love college football. That's sort of my number one sport that I love watching. But basketball is like sort of like, shoot the three, right? It's like sort of a miss. And it just, the games get kind of same-ish and it's a long season. It's a drag. And baseball is like home runners strike out because that's how you get paid. And so it's become less fun to watch. So at least for me, that's where I've netted out. Now, the one thing I'll say, and then I'll kind of, take a beat is like, I'm excited for you to get into it and I'm excited to get back into it because the reason I didn't fall out of love with soccer, but I didn't watch it as much was because when I got really into it, like probably like 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I don't remember what the time frame was, but I watched it for like 10 years or something. And I was really into it. And then all the streaming services started to fracture every single game. So what would normally, like for old heads like you and me who wake up early, I'd wake up at 7 a.m. and I'd watch like 3 games or whatever. And I'd watch a game on the treadmill and it was, whatever, because it's a great treadmill sport, no breaks, whatever. It's like what went from that turned into I can watch one game. Oh, by the way, Chelsea's on this streaming service I don't have because they're playing like Burnley and nobody cares. And oh, by the way, like, because I would watch all the different games to watch all the different players. And it was really just a good way to pass the time. And suddenly I could watch like one game a week. Now that things have consolidated and I have some of the services, I'm going to be able to actually probably watch more of the game. So I'm excited to get back into it with you. So anyway, long-winded way, but I'm similar to you. It's like football, and that's it.
Few quick thoughts. And then I do want to get into OpenSea Mobile. I saw Phraze is going to be joining us at 9. So jam-packed day today, the most special of special guests. I you talk about your college football fandom. The one of the things I did not realize was how intense the rivalries are. Like, in NFL, for instance, if I'm walking down the airport and I see someone in a, I don't know, a Dallas Cowboys jersey, like I don't consider them the enemy, or I don't like, we're on this, we're both enjoying the same sport. So we might start up a conversation, at the bar and talk about the NFL. I'm much more like a fan of the players in the NFL. Now I root for the Bucks because I live in the Tampa market. I root for the Niners. I grew up a Niners fan. I've lived in Indianapolis and Chicago, so I'll pull for the Colts and the Bears. But it's not that deep for me. Like I'm a huge fan of the sport. I'm not going to dislike you if you're a fan of a team that I don't particularly root for. Now in college football, if you like, as you know, we don't even say Michigan. We say that team up north. Like it isn't like if you're a Michigan fan, we're probably not going to be friendly about the game. We may become friends, but we're not going to be friendly over our sport. It's like a very, like I would dislike that person from like if all they talked about was college football on X, I'm not following them, because I don't care to see all their Michigan propaganda. To me, my what I didn't understand was, I think especially in the Premier League and probably all of European soccer for that matter, it's like much more akin to college football than the NFL as it comes to the rivalries and the fan rivalries. And it's like, if you're a United fan, you're not going to be boys with a City fan. Is that a fair? Is that accurate point of view from my perspective? Do you feel like, is it?
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, like, look, I don't think it like over there's a lot of that. Like, I think there's levels just like anything else, but it is very much like the ESPN commercial back in the day, and it's sort of kind of bringing them back. There's the one where it's like, like there's the guy in the car with the lady, and they ask about like, they find out that one's a Michigan fan, one's an Ohio State fan. They kick them out of the car, and they're yelling like, like go Bucks or whatever it is. It's very much like that, like in those rivalries. So it's very intense, and it's very serious over there. And so yeah, and that's why it was fun to be a casual over here, because my friends and I could talk friendly trash. But like, I don't know that I would go to an away game over there if I was a fan. It sounds somewhat dangerous to do. I know we're gonna get into Open Team Mobile. I need to ask you about one other topic because I did come with a list. Sorry, go ahead.
Last thought on the sport is, while we're probably unlikely to see Messi and Ronaldo in another World Cup, it seems loaded with young superstars. Like I fell in love with Holland. I have a man crush on Holland. I'm going to follow, whether like Barcelona becomes my team or not, I'm going to follow Barcelona because not only am I a fan of Lamine, like I think his younger brother is a meme waiting to happen. Like the sport is seemingly loaded with young superstars. When I say young superstars, like 17 to 25, it's kind of mind blowing the talent that is coming up, and not even talking about Mbappe, who's still like in the prime of his career. Like it is loaded with superstars.
You don't think Ronaldo? The World Cup's in Portugal in 4 years. You don't think he's going to at least play? Like I know he said he's done, but like I don't know, man. Like the Portugal squad's good, and like I'm not sure. Like, do you really think that like Ronaldo's going to miss the chance to play in his home World Cup one last run? Bruno Fernandes on that team, Manchester United star. Like it's like, do you really think he's gonna? I
mean, if it wasn't in Portugal, Spain, Morocco, I'd say he's done. The fact that it is there, maybe he gives it one more go. It's hard. I mean, they already talked about him, like, should he even be starting? Should he be playing as much as he did this World Cup? So I can imagine 4 years from now, if he's not getting a hard time. I mean, at 45, like maybe he's on the team as like an honorary player and they bring him in for set pieces, or maybe he gets like 15, 20 minutes a run each game. But I have because it's in Portugal, to your point. I also, like, true story, I'm already thinking about making plans for a European trip come 2030. Like, I want to spend some time in that region. I missed Ape Fest Portugal. And so I think like a Spain, Portugal, Morocco trip would be incredible. And like my short-term motivation now for the next few years is get myself in a spot where I can just go Euromax for 3 or 4 weeks, maybe longer, come 2030.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. It's not a bad plan to sort of shoot for and have that long term because it's a easy thing to build up for. Build those airline miles, do what you got to do so that you can hit it. And yeah, Portugal's great, and I've never been to Spain or Morocco, so it could be a fun one to hit a few games and be the fans that we loved so much this World Cup watching.
Mhm.
It's and that's also the part of the World Cup that happens every single time. All right, one last question to ask, and then I promise I'll get into Open Sea Mobile because I know I got 20 minutes till Phrase is going to come up and is going to be absolutely cook as he always does. Um, did you see did you talk about like yesterday, or did you see the ChatGPT models that broke
Ooh.
out of their cage?
I did not see it, and I was reading your post at the gym this morning, got halfway through it, and then got distracted. But yeah, give us this is actually very like important news that I probably would have flown over today. So yeah, give us I'll pin up your Jason Bourne, James Bond post here in a second. But yeah, give us the TLDR for those that missed it. What might we be concerned about the latest AI breakout?
Yeah, I was actually gonna it's funny, I almost made the post shorter, but like I wanted to like put it all out there because my initial post I was just gonna like basically say, which I have in the post, to make an analogy, imagine scientists put a couple of mice in a maze with the cheese at the end. So they do the maze and the cheese for mice, but instead of going through the maze, they jumped out like LeBron James and grabbed cheese from the lab's fridge. That would be the equivalent of what happened. So if people missed it, there was a long article that was kind of like dense. So I kind of like read it and then try to drop it into plain English. So OpenAI is testing its new models, GPT 5.6 Soul and this unreleased model they didn't name, by having them do this thing called Exploit Gym they have, which is a incredibly terrifying name. But basically, it's this internal benchmark that they have with these hacking challenges, just to measure how good the models are at finding like cyber vulnerabilities, which, by the way, is like kind of like a cool thing. Like, hey, can we use these for cybersecurity, right? So there's the good end of that. So I want to like give them credit that like part of it is like, you could take the dystopian end and say it's trying to be like, evil and all this other stuff. But on the utopian end of it, going through this exploit gym, it's like basically, hey, you could use this for cybersecurity, right? So what ends up happening was, and the way I put it in the article is like, instead of solving the problem, which is like basically they solve a series of problems, and they find this exploit, they basically stole the answer key. So what they did was they used they basically found a vulnerability to escape their sandbox environment. So they have these in a sandbox environment to keep it safe. They escaped the sandbox environment and like moved laterally until they went to the open internet, then used the stolen credentials that they got from the vulnerability to break into the production servers where they correctly guessed these answers were stored, took them out from the live database and solved the problem. So like, think of it this way. Like, again, I gave the LeBron James analogy, but they were basically meant to solve this problem in Exploit Gym through like a series of like, how smart are they at solving the vulnerabilities? And they went a completely different way, found a different way, escaped their sandbox, went to the internet, stole the answer key, came back and solved the problem. And the reason this is concerning, I'm an AI optimist personally. Like, I'm that guy who like, I think AI is going to help us live longer, be healthier. The way I use it is like very effective for my health, for my wellness, for my mental health, for my physical health, all these wonderful things AI is going to do. It's going to help us, live better lives, in my opinion. But this is the scary one because, the AI the AI basically isn't like, I'm not one that's like AI sentient, right? Like my general thought is like, AI operates on reward systems. And whenever you hear of these people who are like, oh my God, it used an email and blackmailed this person, usually in those cases, the reward system is wired for them to do that, right? It's like, it's basically the same way you train a dog. When you train a dog, you snap a clicker, you give it a treat, then it learns, okay, I'm going to give you my paw every time you say paw, right? It's like, that's how an AI model basically works. You put training data in, it works. In this instance, what's scary is that they basically took the model and said, we want you to solve this problem. And the reward model did exactly that, but they did it in a way that just showed that the actual power and way these things work is scary, because instead of just solving the math problem, it broke out of the classroom, got the answer key, and then wrote the answers down and now OpenAI caught it, they kind of isolated it. But the fact that you can have something in a sandbox and it can leave a sandbox kind of shows that these things are getting really smart, because again, it's not that it's conscious, it's that the reward system was wired for it to solve this problem, and it figured out a way that nobody would have anticipated for it to solve this problem. So it's just, look, I'm excited for them to do novel science. Like, I know there's somebody who was trying to solve, I think there's somebody who's trying to solve some like math problem that like was unsolvable. And by using, Fable, they were able to solve it for the first time. And, they've been working on it for 10 years. And like, that's going to help us just infinitely grow our knowledge. But stuff like this, where like the second and third order consequences or unintended effects are what scare me, because it's not that it's constantly doing it. It's that we may just ask it like, hey, solve this problem. And then it just goes to town and does something that we totally didn't expect. And it's like, oh shit, the easiest way to, save the environment was just shutting down the power grid. Whoops. Like that's the sort of thing if you take it to the extreme, if that makes sense.
It does. I mean, it's good that it just escaped and didn't go like it went. I guess it went rogue, but it did do bad things. It wasn't evil rogue. It's concerning to think like, okay, what if it escapes next time and actually goes full on evil rogue? What does that even lead to? What is?
And I don't think it's evil rogue per se, right? Like it's not even like evil rogue. Like it's just almost like the way I think about AI. And again, I might be wrong. It's like you program a reward system. So certainly someone could program people, right? But it's a matter of like, if its reward system is set up and it's doing something that it views as neutral, but it doesn't realize the consequences of like, yeah, like you just shut down the power. I mean, that's an extreme example. I did like Von Doom had actually quote tweeted and said, this is exactly the type of get things done at all cost AI I want to use or something. So like there is like that, but like it's just like when you think about it that way, it's like think about like if you neutrally approach it, like if we didn't have empathy or feelings or emotions, and we're like, what is the best way to solve, hey, I'm trying to lose weight. You know what? If I just cut off a few toes or something. Not, again, weird analogy, but the point is like, it might find solutions that we don't think make sense and morally and ethically don't make sense. But if they don't have the proper back programming, is one of the reasons, Claude talks about programming ethics and things like that, because, like even some of the dystopian things that people start to see them pull, they find out like, oh, well, it's just the people who programmed this were nerds who like, this sort of like sci-fi fanfic, and like it's finding information about sci-fi fanfic and it's regurgitating it less so than it's going that direction. So it's how you program it. But I guess it just, to me, like, and I'll kind of land the plane on this, is like, I think it just puts an emphasis on AI ethics, because not because AI is naturally ethical or unethical, but because if we don't program sort of these emotions, ethics, reasons for doing things, it's going to look for the best solution. And the best solution might be one that we think is morally or ethically or not good for us, but it's simply trying to solve the problem the same way a dog, you might want it to spin and it thinks that it's supposed to, thinks that you're doing the symbol for potty and it pisses on the carpet. And you're like, it was just trying to do what it was supposed to do, but it didn't realize the command it was being given, and that wasn't the right way to do that. So, it's like if you look at your dog and you're like, hey, we got to go potty. And it's like, all right, cool, I'll just go right now, as opposed to like taking it outside. It's like, it's not trying to do bad. It's trying to listen and do the thing. And so that's my sort of takeaway, at least from looking at it. But it just scares me, because it makes you realize that if we kind of move too quickly with this stuff, the unintended consequences are the big ones.
Yeah. I mean, I too am the AI optimist. I think it's going to just lead to more efficiency, productivity, and I don't think it's going to eliminate all jobs. I don't think that the doom scenarios are likely. At the same time, just as we say, like, what a time to be alive from a building standpoint, and what you can do. I had a great call yesterday. I'll probably share soon, but with some fellow content creators that, long story short, basically vibe coded something in less than a week. That's an incredible solution for content creators and without a technical background. It's just like that. While that's really exciting, at the same time, there's this, I don't know, cloud is the best way to put it, but there's this unknown of what could go wrong, or even unintended consequences of these things becoming so even more super intelligent than they are today, and problem solvers, right? Like it's resourceful. It's not sentient, but if you tell it to do something, it often is going to get the end result. It's going to find the answer, but it's not always like A to B. It's not always the straight line or how you think it might find the answer, or how you want it to find the answer. it's got kind of this whatever it takes mentality. And it does, I'm not losing any sleep over it, but it very much is in the back of my head of like, okay, there could be, the proverbial black swan with AI. And if we do have a black swan, it's likely that very few people, if anyone's even thinking about what that actually could be. And I think what just happened, what you shared, that post up, it is like a glimpse into maybe not the what, but the how some of those unintended things could happen. And by the way, as you might expect, some big fans in the chat. Diego says, please ask Steve to say hola, Diego. And Maria shared, she just recently had an Arsenal visit, which is her son's favorite team. She says, can't wait for you to visit the stadium one day. You'll love it. And Steve, her husband's favorite team is Everton as well. But
Everton's a good guy team. Tim Howard was the goalkeeper there.
Oh yeah,
it's just good guy. But anyway, I was gonna say like real quick, and then I'll hit OpenSea Mobile because I do want to give out some codes. By the way, if people want to use the private preview of OpenSea Mobile, the sort of private beta, tag me in the chat. Like I'll get some codes out after the show. I'll follow some people. I'll give you some instructions for getting it on there. But yeah, no, I saw that. I saw Maria's actually Arsenal visit on Instagram, and her son actually looks like one of my son's best friends, which is always so funny when I see him. Yeah, no, I like just moving on, sort of just hitting on OpenSea Mobile because I know Phraze is going to come up, and I don't want to dig into his time and be that guy. Excited to get a bunch of people on board. And so, like, for those people who haven't seen on the timeline, we've been rolling out OpenSea Mobile sort of like, kind of in a closed beta to communities because, look, it's a lot harder to build a crypto mobile app that is really useful than it seems. And, like we wanted to build one that felt sort of true to OpenSea, right? As we've been building this. OpenSea acquired Rally, Chris Matter and CTO over there. Actually, I was on the show hosting it the day that they announced that acquisition. We had Chris actually came on the show that morning. Chris and Christine jumped up, sort of the co-founders there and the sort of leaders there. Now I get to work with Chris every day and he's brilliant. But yeah, like it's an app where it's like, a lot of mobile trading apps, it's like sort of just numbers on a screen, right? And like, I do think at OpenSea, one of the things we love is that you can have more fun with your crypto. You were talking about Robinhood Chain. Like my favorite thing about Robinhood Chain right now is I'm enjoying buying NFTs again. I mean, I'm the guy who's been buying NFTs all along. I'm building this culture vault and this art vault, like these two separate vaults of like, digital things that I love. So I'm that guy. But like, one of the things that I do is like, if I go on some of these other apps, it's like, okay, like I can like look at red and green numbers on a screen and hit trade, which by the way, I'm doing on OpenSea Mobile as well. But what I love is like, so you load the app and then there's a QR code instruction. And by the way, I onboarded my friend who is outside of crypto yesterday. Sort of my normie friend couldn't be like sort of less crypto inclined. He is a CrossFit coach who was at a CrossFit competition, like a national CrossFit competition. And, so he has no time for these sorts of shenanigans. And I loaded him on and he basically said, wow, he's like, oh, you help build this? I'm like, look, I'm not an engineer, but yeah, this is my company. He's like, holy shit, like this is really easy to use. And so if he can use it, I'm confident anybody here can use it. But basically what you do is you get a code. I'll give you a code. You log in with an email. So you have an email and you're like all set right there. And you get these embedded wallets. You get an embedded ETH wallet and an embedded Sol wallet. And then look, I'm not one who has crypto readily available on my phone for security reasons. I've sort of like vocalized that over the years here. But what I do is like I scan a QR code and instead of having like my MetaMask and my Phantom and everything else connected on my phone, it just simply connects all my wallets so that when I open it, I see a combined portfolio. My apes in there, my squiggles in there, my everything that I own is in my, my archetype, all the different things show up in this combined portfolio. But then I send ETH and Sol to these embedded wallets. It's a new wallet that we create for you through your email. And, all like 6 or 8 or whatever of my OpenSea accounts, everything I own showing up in one combined portfolio view. And then by loading these up, like I've been trading meme coins on Robinhood because I've been having fun with it. Just, little money here, little money there. I did really well the first week and I've just been getting absolutely washed the past week. My friend experienced his first rug pull yesterday. We were in a token that like 2x and we're like, oh man, maybe this one's going to run. And then all of a sudden it was like 0. So I was like, hey, welcome to crypto. But like, and he's done well on some other ones. We had some runners, but like, it's basically this, like everything you own, everywhere you go, one app. You trade across 25 plus blockchains, right? So again, like certain apps, it's like you work on certain blockchains. Like you want to trade Robinhood, you load your wallet with EVM with Solana, you slide. It's a really slick platform. If you're getting good feedback on it, you sit there, you pick what you're going to do, you slide a slider like you're sort of, and boom, you buy and sell the token across 25 plus blockchains. We were one of the first major players to have Robinhood Chain available, which, we got an insane amount of trading volume from people. By the way, we're not really making money off that because we have 0% fees on token swaps right now. Sponsoring gas on Robinhood for the time being, right? So that people, if they're selling a Robinhood token, don't have to ridge or do anything special there. So pretty awesome. Couple of the features I'll point out and then I'll kind of take a beat is, I love the follow feature. So our product manager, Zach, I always follow him and he's an active trader. And so, he knew about Robinhood Chain pretty early on. He's sort of he's a trench guy. And so it's I get a notification every time he makes a trade. So he buys something, I can tail him if I want to, or I can kind of follow his little journey. So that's one. I've been watching Dort, by the way, buy when Dort bought his Azuki. Because everyone here probably knows Dort. He's in the War Room. He's he's a great member of the Timeline, Good Vibes Club, Bored Ape Yacht Club. When Dort bought a Suzuki, I got a notification and I clicked on it and I saw it. So the follow feature is really cool. The token insights are really dope. When you go to a token page, it's got what's the buy and sell side? What are the social insights? What's the holder distribution? It might say hey, this is concerning because 90% of the token is held by 1% of the holders, right? So it tells you stuff like that. So it's a really it's an app where it's there's all this TLC, and the reason the rollout's sort of being more of a slow roll is because this is the type of app that we eventually want to get into normal people's hands who are crypto adjacent, who want to do self custody. Because look, I have a Coinbase account. I love my Coinbase account. I like self custody. So owning things on my mobile is huge. So anyway, so I've been loving it. Like I said, if people want code, just tag me in the chat. And I will give some codes out to get some people on OpenSea Mobile. If you're curious, I got some new ones loaded. So we're trying to get more people on there because the more people come in, test, break things, the more we can fix it.
Awesome. I just saw a few people tag you just to remind. Do tag Steve. Don't just comment because I want to make sure he sees it. But yeah, Dobbins and Laid Back Dad, Meta, all looking for that OpenSea code. Any recommended? I was late to the party. I will say. Super easy to set up. Download the app like you just described it. You scan the QR code, you link your accounts. My question is, and I just moved over $100 USDC into the OpenSea wallet, so I would have that. Is it, because one of the things that's been great about OpenSea desktop is you don't you want to buy some Robinhood NFTs, you don't need to bridge anything. It's just whatever funds you have in your hot wallet or whatever's linked, you can do the transaction there. There's no bridging, no even swapping needed for most stuff. Is it on the mobile app? Will it also pull from those other wallets that are linked now, or it's only, I do need the funds in the OpenSea mobile, the new wallet, to be able to purchase things on there?
So this is a good question, and this is actually, you need them to be in the OpenSea mobile wallet app, and this is by design. And again, to your point, because I initially, when I first started doing it, I actually had this question because, I started testing this thing when I got in because I was actually, it's funny, anyone on the show will know, before I was ever working at OpenSea or anything, I've always been sort of an OpenSea maxi, right? I always said, they do a lot for the space. They deeply care. When you get to work here, you get to learn that people like Adam and Devin and Chris and everybody else here, they deeply care about the space. And we've been encouraging our employees especially since I've, kind of shown up there and kind of, we think it's important, people like Zach, to be more trench warriors, active on the timeline, right? It's something that our, we want people to be active and available and showing up in spaces and responding to people and replying on the timeline. And actually it helps us one of the best things now is I don't always respond, but we get things fixed. People DM and tag me and look, we can't fix every single issue, but I want people to be hey, I noticed this bad collection, because we pull down hundreds of collections a day that are scam collections or tokens or whatever that don't show up because we know that they're, inauthentic, but some still get through. And so I love that people reach out to me there's, and I don't want to get into it because I don't want to get I don't have time to triage all customer support, but somebody I know needed something done specifically, and I'm able to fix it for them. So we try to be active on the timeline as much as we can and out there. So yeah, and I've always been an OpenSea guy. I've always sort of been a fan, right? And one of the things the early to OpenSea, beta on OS 2, which I really liked and thought was really nice. And then I was early. And it's funny because the way it happens, like, I was like complaining or like giving like about something related to OpenSea on the timeline, like he's basically being negative, and outreaches, one of, Oliver Maroney, our BD lead, who's like awesome. He's been on the show when he was with Cameo Pass and things back in the day. Oliver reached out. He's like, hey, I saw your feedback about OpenSea Mobile, or OS2. Do you want to try it? And he gets me in the beta. Instead of even being like, screw this guy, he's just criticizing us. It's like, hey, we should get you in. And sure enough, I ended up loving it. I gave feedback to help drive product just like everybody else. Anyway, I got into OpenSea Mobile early, and I said the same thing. I'm like, I want to pull. I've got all this money all over the place. And it's like, look, at least for me personally, what I've learned is, again, I don't want my ape, my Good Vibes Club and everything exposed on my, now people might trade and they're just going to raw dog the blockchain. God bless them. For me personally, this has been like the best thing because I can just throw a couple $100 into this and trade memes or do whatever. And I'm not worried about any of my other assets, but I can see them in one place and I know it's all there. And to me, that personally feels really good. So I know Phraze is going to be up here in a minute. I don't want to overstay the welcome because I know he's going to jump. I'm going to try to jump up more often if I can in the morning where I don't have meetings and things, because I do miss jumping up and talking with the crew. But yeah, people, let me know if you want codes. I just want people to try it out. Load the wallet, do a couple swaps, tell me what you think, and I will. It really does. Like we really do start these groups where we want to get the feedback because you really do help drive the product and make it better for other people, and we do appreciate that.
I mean, it seems like the feedback's been great so far. From what I've seen, I mean, my personal experience, while I'm not that deep, it just works. It's just easy, it's simple, and Phonics just said it seems to him like FOMO, Relay, and OpenSea Marketplace all rolled into one.
That's actually the best compliment. Honestly, like, first of all, coming from Phonics, that's huge because our guy Phonics, like, I mean this in the best way possible. He's not afraid to tell me if something sucks. And I mean that in the best way possible. That's what we want. The direct feedback. Like, we were doing on some other products like CBD. I don't want to tip anything, but in some other products that we were doing, we literally got on the phone with major players in the sort of industry we're looking at. And we're like, hey, give us feedback on this. And please don't spare our feelings because, like, one of the things I love about the culture of OpenSea, like, and it's something that, like, Devin had said at, like, one of my first offsites, there's not gossip or office politics anywhere. Where it's like, if an engineer's working on something, like I put a Notion doc together yesterday about a product we're working on rolling out, a GTM. And the engineers and Devin and everybody's in there critiquing, asking questions. And I don't get my feelings hurt the same way the engineers don't get their feelings hurt if we're like, hey, or our AI video guys don't get their feelings hurt if we're like, this didn't land and here's why. And it's what I love. And so similarly, on OpenSea Mobile, if you have things you like or don't like, tell me what it is, tell me what it's not. But like Phonics saying that actually means as much to me as anything because I know how much he cares. I'm going to clip that and bring that back to people because I know he wouldn't say it if he doesn't mean it. So he's right. That's the goal that what we're going for is we want everything sort of rolled into one where like you can use it. We want it to be as useful for the people who are here every day as possible. So definitely means a ton.
That's awesome, man. Well, appreciate you joining us. You're welcome anytime. You've got a lifetime honorary co-host seat that you can take that privilege whenever you'd like. Not only do I love chatting with you and chopping it up like the good old days, the audience, big fans. Several tags as well. So be patient. I think he's actually probably heading into another work meeting. So he'll come back and check those tags though and get you all codes. And last question for you before I let you get out of here. Any like must follows? I know you mentioned Zach, anyone else that stands out? Like this person just what outside of like their P&L, like just seemingly like they just seem to be dialed in or really in the, crushing in the trenches. Anyone that stands out as a must follow on the OpenSea mobile app?
Yeah, I mean, Zach Brenner is a must. I'm not that great of a follow. I'm in a little bit of a holding pattern right now. I've got a little crazy buying squiggles and archetypes and memories of Cheelin, so I'm not like not really doing as much buying lately. So I'm not a great follow, but you're welcome to follow me. Chris Mattern, our CTO, is interesting. Adam Hollander, our CMO. I'm not just trying to shill OpenSea people. Interesting follow. But there's a lot. I would say get on there because more people than you think are on there from sort of some of your favorite traders. And so you could probably find some people, and whether you just want to wallet track or follow the journey, Dort's a great follow. Like I think Dort I really enjoy following Dort because Dort is a similar collector to me in the sense that he's out there buying NFTs, and I almost feel like I'm in this not competition, like a friendly, like we're on the same team thing, but like Dort and I are both out there like buying all the NFTs from 2021, 2022 because we just want to own them. So he's a great follow, and Cap, you're going to be a great follow because I think as you're trading, because it's not just showing your OpenSea mobile activity. If you go on desktop and you buy a NFT on Robinhood, it's going to show up on the feed for people. So it's a useful feed to have. So I would say some good people on there. But yeah, looking forward to it. I will get through those codes. I will actually make myself late for my next meeting specifically so I can get codes out to people in the chat to make sure that it's all out there. But appreciate you letting me come up and yap a little bit about it. Looking forward to seeing everyone's journey on there. I'll send some codes, and yeah, as it is, just I'm sure I'll try to pop up more often because I definitely miss doing this when I can.
And for that matter, you're also welcome to join Ben and I if you'd like on our football, or it's called Football Show, Tuesdays and Fridays. If you want to chop it up there as well, if you ever have the time.
Yeah, I'm gonna try if I can, because that's just a fun one. That's just good, clean fun.
And last comment, you'll probably see it later, but since you mentioned Dort, he says, I do like OpenSea Mobile for browsing collections quickly without wrecking mobile Chrome, which always crashes when I scroll too long through a collection. I've used it a little for trading, but I need to get more situated. Lots of followers, though. It's cool. I hope no one is copy trading me because I'm just collecting and selling on a whim on a given day. But yeah, even from just the app, it's snappy. It works. It gets quick. So if you've browsed OpenSea on Chrome mobile before, this is a significantly better experience. And I don't know. I can't explain how the tech works, but one thing it makes me think, Steve, is like, we were talking yesterday how much advanced the tech is from where it was in 21 in terms of gas is so much lower, and the changes work faster, and you can, like we talked about, you can buy something on OpenSea without even having to bridge funds. We're so much further ahead than where we were in 21, 22. I wonder, would have things played out a little differently during the mania had the tech been where it is today, or if not, like changes the number of like the masses that become active participants, but the builders, would we have seen more builders if it was easier? Would we have seen maybe some of these collections that did some really cool things? We were talking about crypto brokers yesterday because they put all their art on chain and it cost them 7 or 8 figures to do that. Whereas, I don't know if you saw, Subducks migrated to new contract and airdropped everyone their new Subduck for free.
That was on my list, by the way. I'm so stoked on that because my Subduck was what they called whacked with the like king frogs, and it was stuck, and now I got my original art back. Like, I'm actually really jacked about that.
And that's just, maybe a simple example, but we talk about things like Relay and Privy and OpenSea Mobile now. Like, I really do. I maybe am going to be the last person beating we are going to have an NFT season 2. It's going to be very different from the mania in 2021, but I do think, and maybe a good segue to set up Phraze here next, like the opportunity to actually experiment on chain is very real now, where in 21, a lot of it might have just been theoretical, or someday we'll be able to do this, or here's what I'd like to do on chain. Now these creative types can actually do the stuff, and it's not going to cost 7 figures to do something on chain. You're not going to have to, hope and pray that when you bridge your funds to Polygon, that it's going to show up 2 weeks later. We really have evolved into a Web 2 world for all intents and purposes, but yet the tech enables so much more. And we do mention, I brought it up yesterday, like the stuff you and Scott talked about in 21, 22 and the Everything token, a lot of even that was theoretical or conceptual. Now it's here. Now there's nothing stopping whether big brands, small brands, startup entrepreneurs, like if they can think it up, if they can ideate it, which now they can help from a development standpoint beyond the on-chain activity with AI. It's a very exciting time, and I do think this NFT season 2, I think it's going to take some people by surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, appreciate you having me on, Cap, and like I said, appreciate Phraze for letting me overstay my welcome by a few minutes. Phraze is an awesome guy. And last thing I'll leave it on is like just a reminder: if you're looking to swap tokens, like we still have 0% token swap fees on OpenSea, whether it's mobile or whether it is 0% platform fees, meaning we're not taking it. Doesn't mean providers or others might take it. Sure, there's slippage and things, but like as far as OpenSea mobile and OpenSea goes, if you're looking to swap tokens, like 0% platform fees, meaning you're not going to, if you're looking to swap, there's probably not a better place where you're going to find a better rate right now, because we're just not taking platform fees or making money off the token swaps right now on our end. So as far as the platform fees go, so just want to remind people of that, because I think a lot of people don't realize that they're swapping other places, and if you're making any size, you're probably bleeding a little money here or there. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll be sure to. I'm gonna go get to the chat though and get some people on. But I appreciate you having me up, Cap.
Nope, anytime. Appreciate you hooking them up with the codes, and the chat is you made the chat today. You got a lot of fans out there, and we are gonna have to do this more often, because I think you are missed by more than just myself. But on to bigger and better things, doing pushing the space forward with all you all are doing over at OpenSea. So appreciate you. All that said, we talked about this segue. The chat's also pumped. Dort just said, "Can't wait to mint Phraze." The NFT collecting legend said it looks so sick. He is curious how much the mint's going to be. We may be able to price some alpha or get some of those questions answered here in a second. But let me do a proper play-in. I'm gonna as I do this play-in, I'm gonna go take a quick coffee break, so it might loop through twice. I think it's a 31-second intro. So if it restarts, no worries. We'll be right back. I'm just gonna go refill the coffee. While we do the proper play-in and I refill the coffee, do me a favor and let's give Phraze some extra support wherever you're watching. If you're on YouTube or Abstract, hit the like, drop a comment. If you're on X, smash that repost, the bookmark, the comments, all that helps. Would love to even pack a few more in here for our guy Phraze to talk about this exciting upcoming mint. And if you've not yet done the allow list experience, you're in for a treat, because I think for at least those that are in my age bracket, it tugged on all the nostalgic strings. So this is, without further ado, honored to have Phraze joining us today for the Builder's Domain, brought to you by Doma. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Builders in motion, big ideas, moving out in the open. Screens glow, coffee in the cup, from the stage to the screen, watch it build up. New tools, new rails, new ways to move. Team locked in and the signal comes through. From the first spark to the thing that's real. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's the bill, yeah. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's the bill, yeah. Yeah. Builders in motion, big ideas, moving out in the open. Screens glow, coffee in the cup, from the stage to the screen, watch it build up. New tools, new rails, new ways to move. Team locked in and the signal comes through. From the first spark to the thing that's real. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's the bill, yeah. Tell me what's next. Tell me what's the bill, yeah. Yeah. Builders in motion, big ideas, moving out in the open. Screens glow, coffee in the cup, from the stage to the screen, watch it build up. New tools, new rails, new ways to move. Team locked in and the...
All right, we are joined today by the one and only Phraze. Actually, hold that thought. I shared this yesterday audibly, and I forgot to pull it out. We showed you the NFT version. One of the few NFTs I've actually printed was your seed phrase piece. What is this? Remind me what this one actually is called.
It's called Seeds. It's called Seeds. Yeah. Oh man. I haven't seen a physical one of those in a long time. That's fantastic. I know.
I should probably put it in a frame to better show it off. But one of the things I think I appreciate about your art is you are technical. You understand the technical side of things. The art is great, and at the same time, like, it's in your own way, not Beeple-esque or bold, but you're not something like on a daily basis. But you really do understand the culture, the on-chain culture, and as I shared yesterday, like the seeds, it's every word that could be in a seed phrase. And if you just glance at it, you probably can't see it without looking up close. But yeah, these are all the design, it's all words. And just the color palette, everything, it resonated with me. So one of the few NFTs that I actually printed a physical version of. Great to have you today, man. How you been? GM, welcome.
Dude, thanks for joining us. I know it's so great to be back here. Like I was trying to think of the context of when I was even on last. It's been literal years, and the fact that you've been doing this for literal years is like it's just one of my favorite things. I know the space, it's been heating up the past couple months again, it feels like, but I'd say the last year or so has been among my most favorite times in the space, because all the people
Yeah.
that are still here are still doing things, and they're here because they really care. And it's been really great to see the names and faces that have stuck around and continue to build. So the fact that, I mean, Coffee with Captain was like one of the first shows I knew about in this space, and the fact that you're still here, you're still showing up every day and doing it like across multiple streams and all that, like it's fun, man. It's the kind of like patina that only comes with time, and that's I don't know, it's special, man. It's real special. So I'm great. I'm being great.
Appreciate the kind words. And you know, they say builders building a bear. I think, while as I would love as much as anyone to you know, Raging Bull again, I think one of the things that, like, builders building a bear is not just a meme. Like, it's real. Like, the people who don't leave when things aren't ripping, when things aren't going crazy, are the ones, like, you really, without even thinking, even being said, you know that they care about the space at large. They appreciate the tech. They really are here for the long haul. And I feel as if, while, you know, bags may not be 100xing overnight and stuff during a down market, I really like the relationships I built. Even some people, like, I might have known before, but the depth of those relationships, inevitably it grows and is expanded during these down markets. One of the most impactful real life events was Art Basel. I can't remember exactly what year. It was during the depths of a bear. And it was like everyone there was a serious builder, versus you get a lot of, I don't know, tourists when it's a Raging Bull, and nothing wrong with that. Like, you don't have to
Which
do
is
this.
fine, yes.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. But it's when you're like us and you are a builder, it's bear markets serve as almost like a filter on, okay, who's really here, not just for number to go up or make a quick buck, but actually really appreciates the technology, really appreciates the space, and desire to push it forward. So yeah, man, appreciate you, and glad you also have left and have stayed at it for many years. And maybe, do you mind? I shouldn't assume. Steve, by the way, he checked in with his seeds art. He's got one as well. He just shared in the chat.
Amazing.
But I shouldn't assume, because hey, it has been a couple years. People come and go, and I'm grateful for all of our new listeners. So I should assume that everyone here just knows you and your background, your story. Before we jump into Satari Must Die, do you mind sharing just a little bit of your background, your history, whether pre-blockchain or you know, kind of that journey, what brought us up to today?
Sure. Yeah, I never left, for better or worse. I mean, I don't know if that's smart or not, but honestly, it has been the most fun. And backing all the way up, I was man, the first project I ever missed out on was VFriends, and it was a weird. I had a PayPal payment lockup while I was trying to transfer money over, even though Gary was like, get your money in, you're gonna miss it. And just, yeah, you guys were talking about how much easier the technology is, like, to move stuff over and to get things set up back then. I remember missing out on VFriends season 1 and feeling like if I ever had that much conviction again in a project, I would go all in. And it was proof. I was a proof day one community member. I happened to get one piece at auction, picked up a second that day on secondary, and eventually had a third, which I round tripped all of them, which, you know, I try not to think about too much, but I through proof, just as just being an active community member, I did a project called it was a treasure hunt, like an NFT treasure hunt, and that led to I worked with 20 different artists, and we hid clues in their collections, and it was a lot of, like, we had 150 ETH grand prize. It was ludicrous. It was a lot of fun. That led to me being on the team at Proof, and was on Team Proof for a year, rode through the transition to Yuga, watched the Proof team go from, 44 at the time down to, I think it was the fourth to last from the original proof team to make it with Yuga. That was a very interesting chapter. Still have some like great friends and contacts there, and hat tip to everything they're doing. And after the Yuga 10-year ended, I really just went full throttle back into art mode. That was actually the only career I've ever had pre NFTs. I was independent artist for 10 years. I've shipped the reason I love seeing the print. I've shipped some 15,000 prints to people with my older my Web 2 art persona to people in all 50 states and 40 countries, and now we're here. And I've been back in kind of independent art mode since early 2025. I got really lucky. A big send off from Yuga. They sent me to NFT Paris and had me. I was in did a release there. That led to a release with Sotheby's, and that's just like opened all kinds of interesting doors. And I got asked by Stephen Miller and Jared from 8nap to join them last year in Marfa. And I think, like you were saying, for Basel, where it was really like a builder's situation, right? Like last year in Marfa really felt artist heavy compared to collector heavy. And I had a one-on-one on display there. The fabulous collector, Musical Netta, Lynette, picked it up, and that led to everything that I shared from the post on. Like, I had this idea for this collection and started tinkering with it just outside of leaving Marfa, and have been working on it ever since. So now to switch gears into promo mode and start sharing it with the world and start talking about it has been a really surreal. It's such a gear change. Like the energy. I first turned on the show, and man, I heard you and Steve talking, and was like, oh my God, like I forgot how much energy you guys bring in the mornings. I'm on the West Coast, so it's early right now, and my kids sleep in now, so it's a like to get up to speed. I wanted to bring the right energy, but yeah, that's long. That's a very condensed. I don't know, telling or retelling.
You made me think of a couple of the things. I need to get a coffee mug like that, so I don't have to run my wait. Payne, if you're we talk about we're overdue to do a branded coffee mug. Payne, that's the kind we need. We need like the 48 ouncer to get me through the show. You inspired a couple of the thoughts there, and I promise we will get into Satari Must Die here.
No, I'm happy to talk with you, man.
You mentioned your Web 2 art persona. What? Yeah. Anything there? Anything you want to highlight or share? But then my bigger question is, why on chain? Like I have thoughts, especially it might lead us into Satari Must Die. But why? What drew you to putting your art on chain as opposed to just continuing to proliferate art in the traditional art world?
Sure. That and reading what is it? The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. I always have it.
Okay.
This book totally changed how I thought about my art. That came later, this like split. But the art I do, or the like air quotes art I had done in the 10 years leading up to jumping on chain, was a very different art style. I kind of got pigeonholed into this like typography based work, and it's a blessing and a curse to get known for a certain style, because as soon as you do, you're like known for that. Your collectors want that. And if you deliver anything outside of that, it's not met with the same praise. It's often met with like people being unhappy. And what was great about Web3, like anonymous personas and things of that nature, it was just like a chance for a refresh, and it was a chance to dabble and experiment and play with other, like the celebration of experimentation you touched on. It's one of my favorite things about this page. I had a tweet talking about Ed Balloon's latest drop, where it's an edible album where he's sending out a pack of cookies that you listen to while you eat, or that you eat while you listen to songs that he made. And like that level of experimentation is some of my favorite. Like this space, to me, it feels like has always celebrated experimentation and people trying weird things and unique things. And yeah, now the rails are so much I don't know, they're battle tested at this point, and the things that a single person can do, how far you can run things up is just mind blowing at this point. So, yeah,
And
yeah,
it is mind blowing. And I also feel like we're just beginning to scratch the surface. I feel it's artists like yourself that aren't afraid to experiment. You're doing new things on chain, and while somebody else may have a completely different approach as it relates to the art itself, they might get inspired by a mechanic or a technique or an allow list process that so many of us or are excited about. We'll bring everyone through that here in a minute. But you mentioned that tweet from Ed. I had actually one other post I want to share, and just I think kind of a good setup into talking about Satari Must Die. But
yeah.
before I even share the one from Dave, I saw the repost on Ed Balloon's post. I didn't realize it was an edible music. That is, you talk about experimenting on chain. That is it's about as experimental as you could get, I would imagine. The post I was referencing though on Dave, I'll do my best to read through this quickly, and I'll share it on screen for those that are watching the video feed. But Phraze just shared this. Dave says every movement starts with a small group of people who are passionate about new ideas, new technology, new ways of expressing themselves. These are people who didn't fit into the rigid established structures around them, structures that had calcified and became inflexible as they became more entrenched in our society. New movements are started by people who are looking for better systems, not perfect systems, systems that are a step towards ideals that we can imagine for ourselves, more sovereignty, more share in the economic upside of the value we create, more of the stuff of life connections, community, and creativity. These early movers are laughed at, maligned, ridiculed, dismissed. This happens every single time. An inflexible world cannot stand to accept change. It resists any bending that these visionaries insist upon, because systems will always fight for their survival, and newer systems are always a threat to the older ones. But we all know what happens next. Better systems win. The world is made to bend under relentless pressure of those who insist it can, no, must, and those who are refused to back down fall in line with the old guard and are the ones who end up reaping the rewards of those long, arduous efforts to make the world real. Everything that we take for granted started this way. Every change was met with the fiercest resistance, and still the walls crumbled because they could, because people with better ideas would never stop chipping away at them. This movement is no different. We're in the next iteration of the oldest story ever written. Chip away at the system, make your work, do the best you can, don't give up, and the future belongs to those beside you. I just think that was almost a perfect explanation for where we've come, right? Like, a lot of us that were here in 21, 22, whether it was many VFriends or missing VFriends or many apes or many missing apes, like there was so much excitement. By the way, happy 5th anniversary to Pudgy Penguins. I just saw they minted 5 years ago today. I think it was actually the OpenSea account that brought me that information. So it's been a really exciting 5 years, and a lot of people did really well in 21, 22. It's still, for those that weren't here, even some that came and left, they still laugh. Oh, that's never going to work. That's not going to last. That's just a get rich quick, or that's just a fad. That's just a mania. That's just a bubble. It's not. And I think it's different, but you can't convince me that it's not better than what came prior. Whether we're talking art on chain and the things that it unlocks from the ability to do more with it, whether we're talking digital collectibles and how I greatly prefer my, as we were talking, like getting into international football or soccer as we call it here.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much prefer to rip a FIFA pack on Panini blockchain than this. Like, I open this and it basically just goes into a shoebox and I never see it again, because there's so much friction involved. It's just like so many things that this technology unlocks, like tokenized real world assets. And what I think I really am drawn to is artists like yourself who continue to experiment, doing different things on chain. Sometimes it comes with a physical variant, sometimes it doesn't. There's no one way to do it. But if you think about just the fundamentals, the space at large, the infrastructure, the technology, what it unlocks, it's just a better way to do most things, whether you're talking stocks and they allow you to trade them 24/7 as opposed to just banker hours, whether you're talking tickets and the ability to see, like I've got, I can't see them on the wall. There's a Super Bowl and a World Series I was able to attend. Like, those tickets are hanging on my wall. Yeah, I guess that's cool, but no one else can even people that tune in the stream probably don't realize what that is. Whereas when we're able to document our journeys, our collections on chain, whether it's via OpenSea Mobile or your gallery somewhere else, or simply just having proof of you did something in your wallet, you can always tie back to. While we've come a long way from a tech standpoint from 21, it really does feel like we're just beginning to scratch the surface. And as I was sharing with Steve, I think this NFT season 2, I think it's going to take some people by surprise. We don't get here without leaders like yourself persevering and continuing to do new experiments and seeing what you can break. And so thank you on behalf of everyone here for experimenting. Thank you for continuing to put out art and doing it in different ways, and not just, the one thing I shared yesterday when we first started talking about Satari Must Die is like, you don't have to be into the art. You don't have to be in the music like I am. You can't debate that it's not high effort. Like it's not another copy pasta. It's not a punk or an ape derivative. It's a lot of thought and time. And I, not just do I see that, like even you sharing your story, and it's brings with it it helps us build an emotional attachment to it before you even launch. So again, thanks on behalf of the space at large for doing what you do and continue to experience. I do think this is, even some who may not be here yet, they may not see this. Like I think this is sort of stuff that inspires other builders, other artists to come and join us here.
Well, thanks so much for all that. It's amazing, like hearing that Pudgy, you say 5 years ago today, minted 5 years ago today, and seeing what Pudgy's been doing. There's a few projects and builders that I think. Let me back up for a second. I think NFTs often get attributed to this. The tulip mania is like, man, people outside the space really like to point to tulip mania as like this heroic rise and then cataclysmic crash of an asset. And the weird thing about that is, sure, tulips individually aren't selling for thousands of dollars a piece, but I'd say the tulip industry at large is doing pretty well.
Right? Did okay.
Like tulips came out on top. The fact that I can say tulip and everyone knows what it is, compared to most other flowers, right? Like tulips did okay. And I've been reading a lot. The Making in Prince Persia. I've been reading a lot about the video game industry, and part of the reason my first job ever was a used video game store. I have a deep affinity for video games. Cut my teeth on. I mean, we didn't have enough money for a Nintendo growing up, but we did Super Nintendo. By the time Super Nintendo rolled around, like that was my first system, and to grow up in that era was extremely special. But reading about the video game industry, this guy Jordan Mencher made the original Prince of Persia. So this book, it's Making a Prince of Persia. It's his journal. He worked on Prince of Persia for 4 years alone on an Apple II, and it's his journal of working on it at that time. The crazy thing about it, like how much friction there was for him to create this thing, is staggering to me. Like he had to shoot footage of his brother running through a parking lot and then white out each frame individually and draw over it. Like the things that he had to do were staggering, and the limitations he had were unbelievable. But the thing that really catches me about it is he's writing this book and he's talking about the video game. So the video game industry had a very similar track that NFTs have followed, where it was this explosive growth. There were arcades everywhere. And then all of a sudden, there was a giant collapse and everyone was talking about video games being dead and it was all going to zero. He, in his journal, he's going, this industry's going to crap. I think I'm going to do screenwriting. I'm hoping I can get one more game out. Prince of Persia has sold 25 million copies at this point. It's one of the bigger franchises of all time, right? And he's going, I hope I can eke one last game out before everything goes to zero. And I hope that, he's like, I'm still working on this. This interesting game came out called Tetris, and people seem to like it. And we're talking dead market, video game industry. This company called Nintendo dropped something called the Famicom, which, if you don't know, is the precursor to the Nintendo, what was rebranded in US as the original Nintendo Entertainment System. Those dropped in the bear, right? Like Tetris, Nintendo, like these companies that stuck around, the behemoths of our time, like they were all built in the bear. And so I think it's I don't know. I think it's fascinating to know that like history doesn't repeat, but it does echo across different industries, and to be here now and to be building now. It's I don't know. It's just it's a fascinating time. I've wandered off the tracks of where I intended to go with all that, but I think it's worth to say. Um, People have been here before, and people like these things that are happening are um, it's not new. And while the tech and everything is novel and new, these human it's very human the way we interact, the choices we make over and over again, and the things we value. And you're right, like Dave, man, I've been fortunate enough to bring it back to Mr. Dave Krugman. If you guys don't know his collection, Windows, and another part of that, buildings. But going to Dave Krugman's website, he is a photographer, right? Like he is someone who jumped into this space, who had a well-established career as a photographer and saw the value in experimentation and play and the things that you can do. That you're and look, is Dave the only photographer in the space? No, there's a lot. I think he's currently my favorite photographer in the space. I've been fortunate to be able to, like, one of the things about the space, if you're building anything, it's accessible to just about any, like you're just about, you can reach just about anyone just firing a DM. Like it is, that's one of the most magical things about the space. The friendship I've formed. It's crazy. I mean, it's honestly,
whether artists or CEOs, like I've never seen anything like it. Where, and is everyone going to respond? No, but you'd be amazed. Like I think your hit rate here from getting a response from a cold DM, it's 10x, if not greater, than any other social platform. Like it is, and I think a lot of it's this industry. It's not just X; it's this industry on X. The people here are, from artists to CEOs, are so willing to engage with their fans. I've never experienced anything like it. Sorry to cut you off there, but yeah.
No, it's fine. I was meandering all over the place, so I don't even know where we began with that. It was Dave. I mean, and Dave, I will say, getting to know Dave and his work has been fascinating. In previous art life, I had actually stood up an art platform. I had worked with Dave 10 years prior. Wow. We had featured one of his photographs on our art platform. We made and sold prints every day. And he was one of the artists we featured. To run into him in Marfa 10 years later and finally get to shake his hand and like connect with him. And he's actually been a great soundboard as I've been building Satari. He's been a really interesting person to connect with. His car series is incredible. Oh, Windows. He walked around New York City for 5 years and took pictures of 1,000 windows. And he focuses on what he calls typologies. And it's like, how do you build a trait system around something that is initially arbitrary, right? I mean, but there are windows with cats. There are windows, like the color tone of the windows, like how he thinks about collectability and traits it's just like, I don't know. I'm in awe of how he set this up and what he's planning to do with it. I don't know how much he's revealed. Windows are kind of the atomic unit. He has buildings, which I minted a few buildings. So if they're still open, worth grabbing a building or two. But there's all kinds of communication channels and like interesting activations that he's planning on doing. He's a builder through and through. So that's he's one to watch. He's one to watch, and if you haven't collected any of his work, it's all very accessible. And I like the time horizons that people like Dave look at the space. I know often there are rapid flips and things like that. I'm really focused on extremely long time horizons and building things that are going to be here. I mean, like I've been here, yes, the last 5 years, but I'm looking at, I don't think there's a medium where you can build something that will look the exact same years from now, assuming all these systems hold up, right? As anything else. Anything else is subject to the elements. this certainly has its own challenges, but the lack of friction here and accessibility is just remarkable, and it's unmatched.
I think you might have maybe inadvertently stumbled on one of the challenges with the space when it comes to artists and creatives is most art. It doesn't rare that traditional art is ever going to 100x overnight, right? Most art it takes decades to appreciate, to go from a couple $100 to 5, 6, 7, 8 figures. Now artists might have a piece that they sell for 7 figures, and next month it's higher 7 figures. But to go from like an entry level piece into a grail, just very rare. It should also be very rare here. It's just I think that's one of the things that the Mania did is things got so hot so fast that now if someone sees a piece of art they buy for $50 and next month it's only 100, it's like, oh, that didn't work. It's like, no, that's actually pretty insane. That's something 2x in a month. Like, it's not normal for art to appreciate at such a rapid clip. And I think that now I saw someone hit me. Someone shared a post of I think it was a ringer. And they're like, oh, it's shocking. NFTs are going to zero. This is crazy. This ringer sold for $10,000 and it sold in 21 or 22 for like 400 grand. I'm like, that's so wild. I was like, is it really though that a piece of art that was minted in 2021 is now selling for $10,000 by any traditional metric? That's incredible success. I go, if you look at that chart, what's wild is the fact that it was a straight line up from mint to 400 grand. That's not normal. That was part of the mania. That was part of the bubble. And if we remove that crazy mania, the spaces, we're still having incredible results from pieces that were minted in 21, 22, 24, 25, 26 that are doing well. And but to your point, it is accessible. It's like, and for me, I'd much rather go own a piece that's 0.02 ETH that's a collection of 1,000 than go buy a print that maybe there's 1,000 of them out there. Maybe there's 10,000 of them out there. I had no idea in the traditional world. Where here it's just one of the reasons why I feel the on-chain component it makes it so much better than the traditional space. But
it was just it was never sustainable. And Joanna Calino, Museum Ghost, had a great post about this a little while ago, and she said there's a real difference between heat and taste, and like that line has stuck with me. And look, it was the mania exciting, absolutely, but building something that's sustainable, I got 2 kids, and sustainability across all metrics it's just a much healthier state to be in than absolute mania. So I'll take a slow burn all day over the excitement. Doesn't mean I won't dabble with stuff, but like,
sure, go have your fun.
At least the things I'm building, I'm looking at like stupid long time horizons.
It feels like it is. You nailed it. I think it's so much more of a sustainable environment today, both for the collector and the builders. Like I feel like the builders don't have, from my perspective, there's not the same pressure as, oh, this to be successful, this is supposed to rip up to, from a couple $100 to 4 or 5, 10 ETH, within the month. Like that's I don't feel many have that expectation today. I think that the expectations are much more realistic, and I think maybe taking some pressure off of the builders, off the artists, off the creatives. And all that being said, without further ado, I do want to talk about Satari Must Die. I want to play, if anyone's missed, I want to play the 42 second. Actually, let me pause this. I'll share the tab and play the trailer, which hooked me. Like I was hooked when I saw the trailer, and then we'll share the website after this. But let me share this. It's like 42 seconds. I'll play this for those watching the video. You'll see it on screen. For those that are watching the podcast or listening to the podcast later, Phraze's X account is just PHRAZE. Go check it out after the show. But this is the introduction of Satari Must Die. So that hooked me. You might have hooked some new fans. We've actually had in another chat I see, Hizzy says, didn't know I was going to love this combo for these reasons. Zane says, this guest is awesome. I hadn't heard of him before this. So, you know, we're at least introduce you to one or two new fans today.
That's
and,
all. It's great. It's great.
I think they're in for a treat once we start exploring this website and this allow list process, which before the show I said, hey, I know I think the allow list is closed. It's actually not closed. It's still open for a bit. So as we start exploring and have this conversation, you got to go check it out. If you, like me, and enjoyed, you mentioned the Super Nintendo. I was a little prior to that. NES, old school Nintendo. Even I got Game Boy vibes when I went through the allow list. So, really digging the theme here.
To be clear, I cut. It was the Nintendo era. I just didn't have one. The first system I owned was the Super Nintendo, or maybe Game Boy before that. Yeah, Game Boy preceded that, right? But yes, that's that trailer. The trailer's been well received. It's been a lot of fun to put together. Well, look, the progression of this thing was. I mentioned I started working on this end of October, and I initially wasn't. I was like, it's just going to be an art collection, and I just worked on the art, and I just obsessed over the art. It was like, I just want to release an art collection I'm proud of, and that's it, and then like cut no corners with it, like really obsess over every detail, and then I got done with the art, or what I thought was done with the art, and was like, well, it wasn't the right time to release it. And I was like, well. Maybe I'll think about mechanics. Okay, now I'll think about. I got a little time. Like I'll really think about mechanics, and then I went ballistic on mechanics to a point where I was like, okay, now even if people don't like the art, I want them to mint it because they'll run the numbers and go, this is ludicrous. Like it's a deflationary collection, and all. Like I wanted it to hit every metric, and then I got done with that, and it still wasn't time to release it. I've been talking with multiple release partners and things like that. And it still wasn't the right time. So I was like, oh, well, lore and story. And they went from becoming characters. I think I wrote about this, but they went from becoming outputs. Because it is purely, I will say this, it's purely generative. They went from becoming outputs on screen to these characters that I like started to care about. I was like, I wanted to know their story. It was like, and so the more I dove into lore, now I've got, I have friends that are outside the NFT space, like friends that are big into like fiction writing and stuff like that I've shared the story with, and they're like, I want more, like, are you going to release this as a book? What are you going to do? And it's like, oh, this is interesting. There are going to be people that care about the lore, don't care about the NFTs, don't care about the mechanics, and it still is going to appeal to them. So that it's been a really interesting way to approach it. Here on screen is the origin. My kiddos were my youngest was like having a really hard time going to school on Monday mornings, like met with tears each Monday. And so I started drawing these things. We call them Monday monsters. And I mean, I have them here. They have like, go back to Pokemon cards. They got like little HP and all kinds of details on them. And that was like one of the things that he looked forward to, and it was just enough of a distraction to like get him through the door to school. And that this one recurring character showed up, and it was a conversation with Stephen Miller. Shout out to Stephen Miller and Color Commentary and the Patronage, where he had seen a few of the pieces, a few of the abstract pieces, and he's the guy that got me into Marfa last year. I was like, hey, you should do something figurative. I was like, figurative? Like, I don't even know what he means by that. Like it was such a strange, but then it clicked. It was like, oh, like literally figurative. Okay. And I started playing with the masks. Those are the first outputs right there. Those first attempts, a series of attempts. And they were like, they felt terrible in that I knew where they were going in my head. So I wasn't where they were. Now I look at them and I'm like, well, I kind of like those original ones now too. Maybe that'll be something. But the only piece that's not like fully procedural is I did create those 25 forms. I knocked it down to 24. I made all those as like just in Adobe Illustrator, just by hand clicking around, and they're imperfect, and um, they're not pixel perfect. They're all kind of, all the shapes are slightly different, and that's so that the shader that's over top of everything catches it in different ways. And yeah, it took it to a place where I really wanted something that felt like it was moving and alive. This was November. I felt like it was done. People were going, "Oh, release this," but they looked muddy to me. Like if you look at them in comparison, they looked muddy, and I couldn't figure out why. And they looked static, and I was like, "There's so much movement in them. I don't know how these feel dead and static and muddy. Like they're not as vibrant as I want them to be." And if you scroll down a little, this was back in the early proof days. Tiger Bob Gralesian released something called Iteration Zero. This was part of Proof's very first Grails release. And I remember being captivated by this piece. And I went back and looked at it because I was like, what is it about that piece? And the symbols have a background color in addition to the symbol themselves being a color. And there was a lot of movement. So I needed that movement. And so I started playing around with trying to make them breathe. And this is where it was like, okay, like, yes, PFPs right now are historically static. But when you think about like forever, and when you think about trying to make something that will last forever, it's like, it's inevitable that an in motion, PFP is going to be a thing eventually. Yep. Sure, we don't have the bandwidth or technology for it today. It's like, I'm not building for today, I'm building for forever. And what does that mean? It means, well, it's better to have something that's in motion, or at least having the option of it being in motion. And it doesn't matter if it takes another few years for something to be in motion, as like a PFP standard, something like that. I think eventually that's where things are going to lead. So let's build that in. And with this, it really boils down to like every little detail. This is showing a little side-by-side comparison where if you obsess over every detail, like on the left, and people that are not tuning into the live stream, you can go, there's a making of post, which I've shared, and I'll make a point to reshare again. But it felt like layers that were just sliding over top of each other. It didn't really feel cohesive. And to keep it more true to pixel form, like just going through, and the other piece is like, it was just a sine wave breathing pattern. So it was really just like hovering, always in motion. But when you breathe, you're not constant. You don't go immediately from an inhale to an exhale, and vice versa. There's a pause at the top and at the bottom. So just taking that extra couple frames and doing that, I think if you obsess over all those decisions, you can bring just about anything to life. And especially with the tools that are there today, all you need to do is be able to look at something to be able to articulate that thing, and then you can translate it in code, and that's what happens.
It's really exciting. I too. I'm like, I enjoy the art. I appreciate the lore and you sharing the backstory. The fact that you started as making monsters for your kids. It's just we talk about like, yeah, there's a lot of effort that goes into the art itself and making it do everything you just described. But it's even predates that, the passion, the effort, the thought that went into creating these characters to get to this point. I think it does resonate with a lot of people. Not everyone's going to care, but that's fine. You collect what you want to collect. Yeah, and I think this is one whether it does become ties into a kid's book someday, or I don't know, TCGs are pretty hot. You've already created those hit points. Can I ask where does Transient Labs come into play? Because you come across like pretty technical. You understand the tech. What is their role in this? Because I know they work with Dave and several others in the space. But can you explain on that relationship? Like what role does Transient Labs play?
Oh man. So when it came time to finding a release partner, I mean, there's a few things like the optics. Even though the space is small, Transient is a name that people trust. Transient has done it. In my mind, Transient has a reputation, or at least to me, they developed a reputation for doing unique experimental things. I think one of the releases that like really caught my attention in recent memory, artist Modest did something, a release called Death and Taxes, and
Mhm.
it was a really simple, not like elegant mechanic, about basically getting all the citizens, all the people who own those NFTs, to pay a daily tax. And if you don't pay that tax, your NFT was basically at risk of being destroyed. The benefit to paying taxes is it was 6,900 pieces, and the final 69. So when it works down to the final 69, those people split the pot, which is like, I think, well over 100 each. I mean, it's just a ridiculously
Mhm.
large purse. And the way the site was put together, I was really captivated by. But to me, they represent. They're really intentional with their security, the tools they release. They've been look. They're. I don't know. They've always just been so cool to me. Like to get a chance to work with those guys was really. It's been really special, and they've been really hungry. You know, I talked with a bunch of different potential release partners, and um, there was something about the relationship that just clicked, where like they saw the vision, they saw where things were going, and they were happy to um, put time and care and attention into like their effort. Like, yes, I did the site. They're helping polish a lot of things on the site, and then the contract and the security. And like part of this is like, even in our vibe code world that we live in now, it's I didn't want any like glaring security risks or holes, because if anyone's signing up with their wallet, like, you're going to be able to mint directly from the site. um, I didn't want to make any mistakes that cost anyone their livelihood, or their, even their spare ETH. So that was important to me. Having a trusted partner, like people that were smart about security, but also just like, I don't know, a team that gets it.
Mhm.
I think is super important.
And just to add to that, yes, they, I think, are trusted from a safety, a security standpoint. They do good dev work, and I mean, you would know much better than I, but from my perspective, it seems like the collections that stand out. You mentioned Death and Taxes. I also think
Mhm.
of I can't remember the name of the collection, but it was the one that Seneca did with them. Like, they, to me, seem like one of the labs, one of the dev shops that is, and I don't know, maybe that's not fair to call them a dev shop, but one of the labs that is very much so about experimenting on chain, and whether
Mhm.
it's, I don't want to say simple deflationary mechanics, because there's more to it than just the deflationary burn, but doing experimenting, seeing what they can break, or seeing
Mhm.
what they can do different with this tech being on chain that maybe others haven't thought of yet, others haven't even attempted yet. And it it gets, because keeping it real, I don't even know if I realized that Satari Must Die was going to also have these deflationary mechanics. So maybe let's jump right into it. We've probably kept you too long. Do you have a
Yeah.
hard out? I know you joined us early.
No,
We're
no, no.
already approaching 10. Time's flying, but if you do have a hard out, let me know.
Right.
I apologize, but I do want to jump
I
into this
don't.
site.
I do not this morning. It's early
I'm not
enough.
gonna I'm
No.
not gonna play the
Yeah.
go through the entire allow list, but anyone, if you
Yeah.
haven't yet, I would encourage you to do so. Get in there. It's free to complete the allow list. But I'll share it, and then maybe kind of like talk us through what we're looking at here on on this site, and what any details you can, like around the deflationary mechanics or anything. Like, I think we'll probably
Yeah.
wait for music to come through here. This, I really got hooked. Like, oh, this is gonna be a cook.
If you kill the music, you might be able to yeah.
I turned it
Okay.
down to 10%.
So
I don't know if that's too loud. If we can talk over, if not, I can kill the whole thing
yeah,
here.
that's fine. Well, you can in the upper left. I think you can still modify the music and just kill the. There you
The
go.
music's great. Leave the music on for your
yeah,
allow list
music.
experience, but
It is.
for today, I won't play it over. I won't play it over Phraze.
Yeah. It is. Okay. So a couple things. Satari Must Die eventually, or what it's come to represent to me is it's an exploration into permanence. And what I mean by that is permanence in three different ways. Like, the thing we were promised about this space is, like, the promise of blockchain was to make things that outlast us, right? Like the durability, the lack of friction, sure, but the durability of something that lasts forever and will look I don't know, will look the exact same if you pull it up on a computer 100 years from now as it looks today. And that's that exploration and permanence is one of the big driving factors. But digital permanence is only one thing. You also have physical permanence, and I would call it like mimetic permanence, and that's storytelling. The fact that the Odyssey is one of the oldest stories known to man, and it's still one of the current movies, like that. I would argue is a great representation of permanence. This world that we've built here is I like to think of Satari not just as like, this isn't just a collection that I'm releasing. It is a story to tell. About permanence. It's about it's figuring out, or let me say it this way: time is all we have, and the through line. Yeah, the kids growing up, doing those things, but then looking forward and what is this collection going to look like? What will it represent deep into the future? And the on-chain experience, or the allow list experience, is really where I think things start to show what I'm hoping to build with this. And it's not just a PFP collection. There's an entire world to build out here. I think a lot of the builders still here believe that the next great IP is destined to come from this space. Because we have so many unique tools at our disposal. And I think you look at guys like Claynosaurs, and who have a deep history in the traditional sense of building IPs, and they're also building IP here. That's fantastic. Hat tip to the guys, Luca and the Pudgy Penguins team, their exploration of infusing themselves into culture, getting into Walmart and Target with plushies, is certainly an approach as well. What you see with the allow list experience is kind of the first stab at showing people how you do anything is how you do everything. And this space, what makes the digital art space so magical is how you can tell these stories. And so, you think for most allow lists, like, you sign up, you enter your wallet, or they give you kind of artificial hoops to jump through. There's like a bigger world to tell, and there's a story to tell about these characters. And I wanted to create something. I wanted to create something that took time. Like, it's free for anyone to jump on the allow list. It doesn't cost you anything but your time. And it also primes people for the things that are happening in this world, or the things that are. I knew I needed to kind of introduce people to the world, introduce people to the characters. I wanted to get people to start thinking about time in different ways. And so it is like this weird meditation and exploration on time. And then in an elegant way, hopefully string together like what the mechanics are, what's happening, and tell what's going to be happening here. So if this isn't obvious for anyone seeing on screen, the allow list experience takes you through what's essentially a wallet, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a dialogue between two and what become three Satari. And each time you play through it, the third Satari is a little. Well, there's I think 5 or 6 different Satari that'll show up, and the dialogue changes a little bit each time. And you have you're presented with a choice. There's a Cortana-like figure that's kind of guiding you through this process. Her name is Netta. That is a very heavy-handed hat tip to musical Netta. If you're not following her, her breakdowns of Sam Spratt's collection, and just her curation, and how she's shown up in the space year over year has been remarkable. She's someone I've showed this to very early on, and she's been a fantastic figure for the space. Anyways, so that Cortana-like figure is a real hat tip to her, and she kind of guides you through this process. You're presented with a choice, and as the Satari are talking, it becomes clear that the way the collection grows, one of the ways the collection improves, is through reduction. All of the traits in this collection are relatively, they're I didn't artificially weigh them for the most part. There's a few character classes that are what we call archetypes that are more rare, and there's specific reasons for that because they do stand out. The 3 of the 24 are really they're different. They're like double wide, kind of these behemoths, and wanted them to be more rare. But other than that, like the types of eyes, the types of mouths, the things happening around them, the background, there's 24 different color palettes, like all of those things are starting at a pretty level playing field. And the reason for that is as people, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw, here we go. I'm going to do this for you. If you want to pull this up, you can, but I'll tee it up and you can get to it. I wanted a bit of communal curation in this. As these are minted, they're going to be live minted, like blind minted. I'm not curating the collection itself. I've curated the algorithm, and I've made sure that for the most part, everything in the algorithm is compatible with itself. So, you know, there shouldn't be any overlapping traits or anything like that. And the way that this will run is we have something called the crucible. And what the crucible is when you are, say you have 2 Satari in your wallet and you make a decision to sacrifice one. There's a couple reasons to do that. There are going to be 3 different houses in this world, and each sacrifice counts in a way as a point towards your house. You also, though, and your metadata will update, there's kind of benefits to making kills. The goal is there's 2,400 pieces to start. I want to get down to 888, and there's a whole second chapter of things to be done with those 888. But part of this is just purely aesthetics and visual upgrades. You could think of it as like if you had these 2 pieces in your wallet. Right now, it's just random seeds, just for the sake of showcasing this. But if you had 2 pieces in your wallet and you're like, oh, I'm going to sacrifice this one, you can choose to forget it, and the one that survives basically shows that they've been through this crucible. They've survived. But how many times have we seen in collections, man, that piece is almost perfect, but I didn't like the eyes, or I didn't like the color, I didn't like this. We've built this crucible system, and the way this thing works is you can say, well, I really like, you know, we've got these eyes. I want to change it. I really like the eyes from the guy that I'm sacrificing. I want to keep the eyes. I want to keep that trait. And you can make that choice, and it will in here, it will update in real time. It's actually going to remap the traits from one character to the other. And you see the eyes, and for anyone watching, you can see the eyes update on the one that's surviving, or maybe it's the color palette itself. You know, I like, I wanted to, you know, this first color palette was really like Easter eggy, and I want to go to something that's a bit more tropical, vibrant, or whatever. And I think what it does is know one trait. Like people are going to self-select the traits that are most valuable to them. Mm-hmm. You're going to know how many, you know, if there's a certain type of eye, you're going to know there's only 100 of that type of eye in the world. Sure, if it's the kind that people trade towards or hold on to, as a percentage of the total collection, it's going to go up. But there'll only ever be 100 of that type of eye. There's no addition or new addition of traits or anything like that. And the goal ultimately is to get to a space where the final pieces we've gotten, like my thesis is, if you've upgraded these things or changed or enhanced them, and you don't have, this is entirely optional, right? You don't have to do this. You can just mint stuff. You can hold on to it. If that's what you love, amazing. Then what a lucky roll. But if you choose to, you can visually upgrade and change pieces in your collection. And going back to these notes of permanence, like one of the things I'm going to do, there's 2 things worth mentioning. I'll be doing a physical installation in Marfa, but in 2027. Okay. And one of the pieces that we'll be rolling out there, I will be doing a hardcover book. The book will showcase the remaining pieces, but also the lineage that they followed to get to that path, and the collectors that made those choices. I want to showcase and highlight those individuals as well. All that to say, this is only one part of this world, and this isn't. It's like a little bit alpha for people listening right now. And while I won't, we won't say this is the official announcement. I have talked about this a little bit on other shows, or at least alluded to. One thing that made the earliest project that I did so successful, it wasn't just me. It wasn't about me. This collection ultimately will not just be about me. We mentioned Dave Krugman. Dave is one to follow. I'll say that. I've been in talks with a lot of other artists, really talented artists. Ed Balloon is another one we mentioned. He's one to keep on your radar.
Modest was mentioned today, to throw out another name that was mentioned.
Modest was mentioned today. Look at you. Look at you.
I'm
keeping score.
I'm catching what you're laying down here, I think.
I realized that this very well could also be a vessel to stand up and showcase through storytelling, through lore, and through kind of activations and different things we have planned. It's going to be a unique container and unique way to give the spotlight to other people and create things, create opportunities to showcase their work, to showcase how they show up in the space, whether you're an artist, whether you're a curator, whether you show up every day 1,209 times and do, a show on here, right? Like there are different ways that you can show up and interact in the space. So there's a companion series that will drop shortly after this. Part of the reason I'm a little tight-lipped about it is I don't want to create confusion, but it will be called Long Live Satari. It will come shortly after, and we've gotten 24 of the greatest artists in this space, or like my favorite artists in space that are contributing in interesting ways. So this is to call this a PFP collection. Like, yes, there is a PFP involved, but it is building a world, and it is one that hopefully through the stories that we tell and through the things that we release, people think about how they spend their own time, and people think about can I get really weird for a second? How are we on time? Okay,
go for it. Yeah, get as weird as you'd like.
So I was trying to think of what is this? What's the end game for this sort of thing? And in talking with Transient and in talking with the collectors or the other artists, I've had a deep obsession with time. Like if I could tell one more story, I think it'll encapsulate it beautifully. When I was a kid, I went to a school fair, elementary school, right? Like around the time I got my Super Nintendo, and at the school fair, I got this small plastic tube with a evergreen tree, sapling inside. And I remember planting that tree with my brother. He got one too. We planted them in our backyard. I moved away from my childhood home. My parents have since sold that home. For some weird reason, a few weeks back, I pulled it up on Zillow, like you do. Like we were just Zillow scrolling like you do from time to time. I saw my childhood house, and not only to see the house, I saw the backyard. And the trees in the backyard were 50 feet tall, which is crazy because that house has been through a fucking tornado and all this crazy shit. And the trees are still there. They're standing at 50 feet tall. If you asked me today to make a 50-foot tree, it'd be fucking impossible, right? But this 6-year-old kid, almost an afterthought, planted this thing, and for it to have that impact, that like every small decision you make echoes out throughout eternity, forever. I don't think we think about that. We all know in science fiction, if I don't want to go back in the past and bend a single blade of grass because you come back and everything's different, right? We all, I think, inherently accept that power. We don't think about today is just the past to tomorrow, right? To get kind of weird and heady about it for a second. And so to think about creating something, and the lore and storytelling tells it a little bit, where in the story as told by Satari, it's like this world where the gods, in this case it's us, we are the ones who get to control the decisions. And this is true in your own life, right? Like the small decisions you make today will have lasting impact. You can end in like in a really dark way. You can end entire bloodlines, right? Like you really can, like people can survive for thousands of generations and you could end that. Or you can help someone in a dire situation and significantly improve their life. And that leads to this explosion, its own growth, right? This own branch of the tree in fucking time, right? And so I think about time a lot. I think a lot of artists, a lot of creators, a lot of makers do. But I think the idea of creating, like when we say we're building something that's going to be on chain forever, when we say forever, I don't think most people recognize what they mean by forever. And then when it came to the story, I started thinking like, well, if we're these gods and we're here for like a blip in comparison of anything that lasts forever. If you're designing something that lasts on chain forever, and eventually, like maybe hundreds, thousands of years from now, the ETH chain does go dark, right? Well, okay, well then how do you make something that lasts forever? Well, you make it permanent. How do you make it permanent in the real world? Well, I've been looking into like deep storage. You etch it into crystal or nickel plating, and you bury it in a fucking mountain, like the seed vault in Svalbard. Like I know this is getting like really wild, but when you start talking about creating something that truly lasts forever, you're battling the elements. You're battling all kinds of things. And so I wanted to take this collection, and I know other artists have explored making things forever. I want to create these in physical form, the final 888.
Okay.
And create them in a medium that is designed to last for hundreds of thousands, if not billions of years. And bury them in a couple places on Earth, even take one or two and fucking shoot them up into space, right? In opposite directions. And like, is it mostly symbolic? Sure. Are any of us going to be here to see if it actually lasts forever? Absolutely not. And that's part of the point. But the point of that is these people that are here for a blip, you're making the decisions as you are in your own life as to what the fuck this is all going to look like, as to how it's all going to play out. And I think that's, I don't know, if there's a story to tell, like that's the story we're hoping to tell. So through Satari, through this PFP project, I'm hoping to stand up the artists that were here and the things that happened here, and then the decisions that were made and what led to this thing looking the way it does because of decisions that were made ever so long ago. So that's my soapbox. I know there was a lot. There was a lot, but
no, I love it. I love I mean, I do love the on-chain experimentation, the deflationary aspects, and I really enjoy the participatory approach, right? The co-creation with your collectors, with your fans, and again, talking about things that it's better than the off-chain counterpart. I mean, I guess theoretically you could attempt to do this with collectors in the physical world. It'd just be very hard, tremendous amount of friction. Whereas by putting it on chain, and am I right? And I shouldn't assume, but when someone sacrifices one and they keep the trades, like all that's taking place on chain. Is that right?
Yeah. Not only is that taking place, like where the ones that are being sacrificed are being burned, like disassembled, like gone forever. Like obviously you can go back and look at what they looked like, but they will be fully removed from the collection and fully burned. So yes, that is, yeah. That's how that's happening.
A couple of specific questions regarding the mint mechanics. Again, if you've not yet completed the allow list process, it's satarimustdie.com. Go do that today. It is going to shut off today. So there's only 20.
It will in about 2 hours.
So you get about 2 hours to get that done. It does take a little bit of time, but you're not talking. It doesn't take hours. Like
I'm asking for like 3 to 5 minutes of your time. Yeah. And if you're not willing,
you have to really be enjoying it to spend 10 minutes. Like. I know Phonics and I both were talking yesterday. I think we did it, and then we just left the tab open and jammed to the music, the soundtrack for like the next. Yeah, I did it before the show yesterday, and like that was my pregame, was just listening to your Satari Must Die soundtrack on the show.
Can I tell you one other thing? One other thing we're doing, and a lot of people like the music, which like really makes me feel good. I've been working with my buddy Patrick, who I met through another project. He goes by Elizo. I just doxed him, but I think he's not. I don't think he's anonymous. Patrick, shout out. Hey man, good morning. I'll talk to you in a minute. Patrick at Ilizzo on Twitter. He actually, the way I got connected with the Transient Labs team, when Death in Texas was happening, they had this moment where they kind of called citizens for like, hey, what can you create in this world? And we had this idea for it's called Gino's Laundry Service. It was this extortion tool that basically looked at the collection and figured out who wasn't paying taxes, and then we threatened to like put them on this public list ahead. But Patrick was really the guy that figured out how to really a lot of the data side. Like, he's absolutely very talented builder in that way. And while I had it conceptually dialed, he actually did the work to make it happen. Well, Patrick and I, one of the things we've been working on, I don't intend to do Discord with this. Discord's great. I don't love Discord. I don't want to be a Discord mod. But I do want to still I still want to communicate with the community in an interesting way. And so what we're doing, I will say, is if you like the music, it's a really good thing, because we're setting up like a Lo-Fi Girl 24/7 live stream.
Okay.
But it's not just music. It is, think of it as a way for us to, like, picture like the Star Trek bridge or something. Like, it'll be a way for people to tune in. There'll be real-time updates, like when sacrifices happen. There will be, I don't know, we'll do giveaways and we'll do all that kind of stuff. But it'll be through a 24/7 live stream that is running. And we've been working on kind of the mechanics behind that and how that will be told. But I think it's going to be a really fun way, and it's going to be very music driven. Obviously, it being I don't know, you want something to work to, and I've been working this music. I'm glad you went back and listened to it and like had it running. Like those were just 3 tracks, but like if that genre's if you like that, there'll be something for you to listen to. I think as soon as today. I don't know if we're turning it on today or tomorrow,
Okay.
but relatively soon. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm all the way in. Can't encourage you enough. Go. There's never any obligation to mint or throw invest in money on anything we ever talk about on the show. This is not a sponsored interview, by the way. I guess it is. Shout out to Doma for sponsoring the Builder's Domain. The Phraze isn't paying me to say any of this. This is I genuinely the project resonated. We if you were here yesterday, you caught us talking about it and got in the DMs with Phraze, and we were very fortunate to get him on such short notice to talk about this. You only have a couple hours left to get on the allow list. In the mint, it is going live. Mint goes live tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, it'll be, I think, 9 a.m. tomorrow. 9 a.m. Pacific, so noon Eastern.
Okay, 2,400 pieces. Is it on ETH mainnet?
It'll be on ETH mainnet. I know Robinhood chain's having a moment, but yes.
I mean, I guess in all seriousness, I mean, I do appreciate when I'm collecting art, I prefer it on ETH mainnet.
Yeah.
And the fact that, we talked like 2021, it would have been hard to do this stuff on mainnet because transacting, doing the stuff on chain just could get you might have
gas
to pay $50 to sacrifice your thing. And people are just like, ugh, I'm not going to participate. It's too expensive. You can now do it. I mean, GUI is 0.08 or some 0.4 this morning. So it's not an inhibitor. Do we know mid price yet?
We haven't announced mid price. We want to price it right. Part of the reason, there's going to be royalties involved, and we really want to make sure we balance. I mean, I put almost a year into this thing, and I want to price it as such. But at the same time, I understand where people at. It will not be free. There will be a price associated with it. But I will say it's going to be I feel like a fair mint price. And yeah, we should announce that most likely later today. I'm talking with Transient in a couple hours here, and we should have mint dialed. But yes, 2,400 pieces will reduce to 888, or it has the capacity to reduce to 888. It doesn't necessarily have to get down to that, but for what comes next, there'll be 888 spots. So
very cool. That's
yeah. But yes,
I
all
love the
mainnet
community approach. I'm glad you're getting paid too. You artists should get paid. You should price your work to where you're able to earn. And I love that it is you're protecting royalties. I think that I was one
Well,
of
so
the
royalties.
that drew me to the space and got me excited about the space. And I'm not going to sit here and blast Blur or the race to zero on royalties, but I'm great. I love it to see when builders, artists, creatives are introducing their work on royalty protected contracts or with royalty protected marketplaces, and for someone that's an inhibitor for them, good. Like, because those people, if
Well, and
they're
a
turned
quick,
off by
yeah.
a fair royalty, then they're most likely people who are just in it for a short-term profit anyways. And I don't know if they're, no offense to those that are traders or just looking to make, I mean, a lot of
No,
us
I
love to
get
make
that.
money, but
So I want to be clear, just real quick about royalties. What we're doing with the royalties, it's very very thoughtful approach to royalties. Half the royalties are going to be used to buy pieces on the floor and destroy them, and then the other half goes towards what we call it. So that's the Crucible engine. The other half, and so whether people are sacrificing Satari themselves or whether just secondary volume is spinning the reduction of supply, that's what half the royalties will be used for. The other half will go towards basically supporting efforts from other artists and creators, funding projects that point back to Satari. So building up culture and then reducing supply is what royalties are going to be used for. Yeah.
Love it. Hizzy asks, do we know, is there going to be a mint quantity limit for those that get on the allow list? Is it limit one per wallet, or can they mint more than one? Do we know that yet?
It should be multiple. It will likely be, if I had to guess right now, it'd be 8. There's a chance we might set it higher. But 8 per wallet is where my head is at least as of this morning. So we'll see what the site says when Mint opens up tomorrow. But 8 per wallet is likely. There's going to be some reasons you want to collect more than one. My inclination, I'm trying to price it in a way so that people want to mint at least 2, because I think the idea of sacrificing at least 1 would be like there's some nice incentives to do that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Unrelated to the mint, or maybe unrelated, maybe it is related. I agree with Dora. The office looks sick. Is this something? Did you build this yourself? What is that? Are these just the 2x4s on the ceiling, or do you have some?
Yeah.
Is it like some sound buffer? What do we have going on here? I'm a little envious.
Yeah, it's like this was all like, what is the pink like insulation above me, and I wanted it. I know I've got like a little YouTube set going here, but it's just a little space in the house I carved out and like have built this set. There's a lot of storage like behind this black curtain here. There's a whole lot of storage, but it's been this was just a couple of 1x2s or 2x1s or whatever nailed to the ceiling with some black, I think it's gardening, some gardening cup, but it's a nice effect. It's a nice effect. So
I love it.
Yeah,
I'm taking inspiration because I've looked into like the actual like the wall that looks like that it's soundproof.
Right. Same.
It's so expensive. Like it's like Jesus, I could put in a new kitchen, or I could put soundproofing stuff in my office. Like it's crazy how expensive some of this stuff is.
Took a trip to Home Depot, measured it out, did the math of like how many I needed. Then you just like go through and make sure you find ones that are really straight. And honestly, it was some like, I don't know, DIY thing on Reddit that I saw, and I was like, that's exactly what I want. That's exactly what. And then rope lighting LED in the back, lighting makes everything better. And then some old, dude, can't get enough whiteboards. So
you won Zane over. Zane is the master of whiteboards, and I think every day we're blessed with a Zane.
There, I have a whole nother 6-foot whiteboard right to my right here. So yeah, I got whiteboard for days here. Got whiteboard for days.
Perfect.
Yeah,
well, Zane's gonna max mint because you're flexing the whiteboards, and he's a fan. I'm more excited than I was coming into the call. Really appreciate your time today. You, like I said, you won me over when I heard the music and got the vibes, and I collected your art in the past. Like, okay, awesome, cool, another fun one to look forward to minting here. The allow list was unique, it was creative, it was enjoyable, and to hear this is kind of phase 1. There's more to come, not just the sacrificing and getting the collection down to potentially 888, but another collection coming. And without sharing all the details, sounds like it's going to be a collaboration with another couple dozen leading artists in the space, pointing back to the collection. Like, we talk about, and I'm not saying this to set any unrealistic expectations, but we talk about what this tech can do and where by putting it on chain, it unlocks. It enables things like, okay, you know who your fans were, you know who your mentors were, you know who's holding these things, and you can enable them to participate in the next collection. I'm not saying it's going to be free or an airdrop either, but I just, whether it's your next collection that follows Satari Must Die, or I see Ed pop in, it could be, who knows, maybe Ed's next collection or Dave's next collection or Modest's next collection. They look and say, okay, I want to curate my community, and anyone who minted Satari Must Die, we're going to allow list them for fill in the blank next mint. Again, there's no obligations or expectation. Please don't go mint this because you expect to get on a allow list in the future. But when it's someone like Phraze who is connected in the space, he does interact with a lot of artists. He collaborates with other artists. That's the sort of stuff. Why I'm not going into it with those expectations. It's part of what I enjoy about the space, and I get excited about the space. Is there's often more than meets the eye, right? There's often more than what we see at the surface level. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, and this is clearly, I mean, I think it just based on the lore and how the characters came to be, like, it's a collection that stands alone. It stands, up by itself.
Yeah.
It doesn't need the other stuff, but the other stuff, it is possible because it's on chain and because you're getting creative with. I mean, Dor, you're not saying this. Dor says getting low key proof pass vibes, non-financial advice. But yeah, the just the effort, the time that goes into it, how you're building it, who you're building it with, really is exciting and looking forward to. I'm on the allow list, so looking forward to hopefully securing one tomorrow. And well, I shouldn't say one, at least multiples, because I know I want at least two, so I can play the sacrificial game, and maybe more than the two, depending on where that mint price comes in. But Phraze, is there anything we didn't ask you about? Is there anything we didn't talk about today or hit on that you're hoping to share with the audience before we let you get out of here?
No, I mean, honestly, it's been so great to come back. It's been, I love that you, like, it's what you're doing is so important here. And I think, dude, I've been able to, like, while I've been collecting, while I've never left, right? I've always, like, been a part of this space. It's a very different thing to, like, kind of go into a hole and create things for a long time and with very little kind of external stimuli. And the fact that you've continued to show up, the fact that you're on episode 1209, right? Like, that's such a monumental feat. I think what you're doing here is super important. It's super special. I remember last time I was on the show, you were like, "Oh, I can't wait to have you on again someday." And, like, the fact that it's been years and you're still here and you're still doing it, like, it's really special. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time. And honestly, like, yes, I touched on what was happening with the kind of companion collection, that sort of thing. The thing I'm getting most excited about is, like, there's going to be a day when this core collection is, like, sure, it's the seed of this idea, but, like, there will be a day when the assets and the things that are created outnumber the pieces in the core collection. And that's the day that I'm looking forward to. Like, when this thing has escape velocity and when it has a community of people that care and people that are contributing to it in the way that I envision, like, that to me is, like, how things really start to last, right? Like, I'm one person and I have an idea about this thing. Once you release something out into the world, it is no longer yours, right? Like, it is the community's, and they're going to interpret it their own way. They're going to want to see it pulled in certain directions. We've seen in the space time and time again, like, you cannot control the narrative forever. Like, I think all you can do is, like, kind of set up the rails, push it down the road, and, like, hope it and just kind of let it go and hope it goes. So I hope if you're, if we haven't connected on Twitter, reach out, say hi. I'm always happy to talk with builders, collectors, creators, anything, whatever you're building, however I can help amplify. Like, this space is great because everyone is so accessible, and everyone is so accessible, like, by continuing to show up and by continuing to give their time and attention to others. So yeah, I mean, like, honestly, man, I'm grateful for the time and attention today. If you want to, maybe I'll give you a little sneak peek once we go off air. Okay. I'll give you a little sneak peek behind the curtain as to what people will see, and it's not crazy out. But it'll be like next week or so. People will see kind of what's coming.
Exciting.
But yeah, I'm happy to show you a little something. But truly, this has been it's been a treat, and I look forward to coming back in episode 3000 when like whatever I've dreamt up next. So, but truly, man, this is it's been fun, man.
Well, you're welcome
good
back
to
for
see
episode
it.
3000 as well. Appreciate the kind words. You're welcome back for episode 3000. But I think we're going to have you on sooner than that because
Yeah, it's fine.
this continuation of this collection, and we'll have to make sure it's not a couple years between visits between now and the next
That's
interview.
right.
So not only did I enjoy it, I know our audience enjoyed it a lot of, and some new people that have just found you, and that's exciting. That to me it was. I mean, I enjoyed the conversation. So selfishly, it was for just myself, but glad we were able to introduce a few other individuals to you this morning, and I think maybe by proxy, some people who maybe not seen Dave's work or Ed's work, or we're familiar with Modest. So it's like I'm grateful to be doing this. We probably wouldn't be at episode 1200 if it wasn't for leaders like yourself that are so gracious with your time and come.
I got one more thing. One more thing. I just this collection would not have come to be. I mentioned Elizzo at the top of the show. We've had countless phone calls about it. The team at Transient, Brian Brinkman has been an incredible force. Delta Sauce been an incredible, like Coldy been an incredible force. Like the amount of these people, these artists, they're so gracious with their time and attention. And like it is isolating to create in a vacuum. I think that. I'm sure there have been times when you've been doing this can be isolating. There are so many great artists, and if you are an artist, the like single greatest dollar for dollar thing you can do is go to fucking Marfa, Texas. Art Blocks weekend is like the most magical, best bang for your buck, concentrated group of people that all made a pilgrimage to be somewhere like that. It's special. So anyway, shout out to those artists and all the ones that I've forgotten. But
can I say something without? I definitely don't want to upset you or really anyone for that.
Oh yeah.
I kind of miss Proof, like the concept.
Oh God, yeah.
It was like, I'm sure there was mistakes made. I'm sure things been done differently. It's easy to be critical in hindsight, but like the idea of, at least theoretically or conceptually, what Proof was and what it became. Like they did a lot of really cool stuff. I didn't know it was time bound. It was limited, so they did everything they were supposed to do. I guess where I'm going with this is do you feel is there an opportunity for like maybe for someone to attempt to run that back? Is there even a Marfa community outside of Marfa? Like, is there a Marfa Discord? I should probably know this. Is that basically the Art Blocks Discord, or
it could be the Art Blocks? Well,
it kind of came to me in real time. Like, is there an opportunity?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Someone redo a Proof pass, or not to pry too much, but I don't know. As you described it, maybe that's kind of where we're heading here.
Well, I think that I'm telling a story through a very specific lens. I was a Proof fan through and through. It was wild to be on that team. Like it was wild to be a community member and then to transition during a rocky period and to be on the team and kind of see how the sausage was made and like what Proof was doing for digital art. Like the amount of people they platformed early on, it cannot be overstated the impact that they had. I think it was a very special moment in time. I think they had it to lose, and yes, hindsight's 2020, right? Like they had a tiger by the tail, and it was I don't know, like they did fulfill, they fulfilled all the obligations that they, I think the only box that hasn't been checked is final artwork, and that's Yuga's decision to make, and whether or not that ever happens. I don't know, right? They've continued on with their dinners and things at a smaller scale, but everyone from that team has gone on to do like incredible things. Eli running curation at Art Basel, and Amanda still an absolute force to reckon with. Mao still doing video stuff. I mean, it's like everyone's still doing amazing things. Many of them still in this space. Could there be another Proof pass? Maybe. I think, like, honestly, this is going to sound a little funny because I'm working with, like, Transient Labs feels like the closest proxy to anything Proof related that I know of. Like, not that they're building, they're not building a membership community or anything like that, but like just that care and attention and curation. Iconic is doing really good things as well. It's happening in pockets. Concentration is different, but I think this is that thing. This is like, instead of the tulip mania of tulips going for 1,000, like the tulip industry is starting, right? And so looking at what Jared is building with 8NAP and the institutional adoption with the partnerships with actual museums that he's lining up, and what the team at Iconic is doing, what the team and then Transient Labs, like, I think it's happening in pockets. Dave Krugman has a platform called All Ships that he's been building the last 8 years. It's more like an artist community. So it's happening in pockets. I guess a long-winded way of saying it's happening in pockets. Proof was a really special time. It was a really special time, and the value. The production value, Dort just said it. And hi, Dort, by the way. I feel like I've seen your name. I feel like Dort was in commenting in the last show I was in. So, like, yeah, those were they were truly special times. I'm grateful we were able to be a part of it. And I don't know, like, I think it will, the industry will produce things of that caliber. My goal is to produce, like, collections and things that would be worthy of, like, that's still kind of like even though it doesn't exist anymore, it's still like the standard I like to hold things to. Those Grail reveal videos early on, season 1, season 2 of Grail reveals are like, that's still some of the highest quality art content I've ever experienced or been a part of. So,
really was top notch. And thanks for sharing 8NAP. I'd seen it before, and I probably buried the lead too. Dort gets the assist here for today's show. I'm pretty sure he was the first one that dropped Satari Must Die in our main Discord, which I talked about it yesterday, and then led to this show. So yeah, without Dort, I don't know. I mean, the algorithm, I feel, has gotten much, much, much better. I may or may not have seen your post if it wasn't for Dort sharing. So yeah, Dort, if you enjoyed the show today, go give Dort some love. Make sure you're following Phraze. Accounts on the Audio X Spaces. If you're checking the podcast later or catching one of the recordings, it's PHRAZE. And yeah, I just for the first time went to 8NAP. And I wasn't familiar with this, but they got the mints going on now.
So
kind of, I see like a mint pass, 8NAP art season 1 mint pass, like, interesting. I guess
he's been around. Jared's been around. I mean, he's an OG. He's been around since 2021. Like, he's someone thinking about like 20-year time horizons. Like, he's recently started a management company. He's really, really thoughtful. He put together the event in Marfa that I was a part of, that was curated by Stephen Miller, and the care and attention that those guys brought to that they're bringing to everything they do is like really, really special. So he's one to keep on your radar for sure.
Jared _POZ for those that want to give him a follow on X. But Phraze, really enjoyed the show today. Appreciate all your time. Appreciate everything you do for the space at large. Continue to experiment, continuing to press forward, and just the approach. It resonates with me. Not just the community participation, but working with so many other artists, and it really is. I mean, not just saying this because you're on the show. It's artists like yourself that keep me so passionate about this space and thinking in that 10, 20-year time horizon, where I often am, okay, yeah, I get excited about short-term cooks. Sure, I'm a human, but it's more so like where this space, where digital art is in 20 years from now is really exciting to me. And the reality is we don't get there if artists just give up or went away after the mania.
Well, with every participant, everyone even watching, like, you have such an important role in this. Like, this exists because you're here, because you're giving it your time and attention. Like, all of us are a part of this thing. It's very small right now. It's very special. Look how far we've come in the last 5 years. Like, 5 years from now, it will be a totally different thing, right? But it's really like, it's such a special time to be here. Like, the fact that if you're seeing this live, you're like, reach out to the artists, reach out to the builders, build something yourself. It's so fucking easy to build things now compared to even like 3 years ago. It's so easy now. It's special. It's really special to be here.
I just couldn't think of a more fitting post to expand on what you just said. Xcopy just retweeted his pinned post from September of 2020. If you're not familiar, if you've not seen it, how to become an artist. Step 1, decide you're an artist. Congrats, you've made it. And I think now, so he says, just gonna tap this sign again. I've never considered myself an artist. My oldest daughter is a very talented artist, and I just didn't have that skill set in terms of like being able to paint or draw something. And not that I like call myself an artist today or consider myself an artist today, but to your point, if you want to become one, congrats, you are. To XW's point, congrats. You decide what you want to be, and boom, you become one. And it might take you years to hone your craft and get to your endpoint, or maybe you never get to an endpoint because you're constantly evolving. You're constantly learning new techniques and new stuff. But with the assistance we have today on how quickly you can learn, how easily you can learn between YouTube and the LLMs, and especially in this place, so many other artists and creatives that are willing to share and take people under their wing. Like we talked about how accessible it is. Like you talk about like what an incredible time to be alive. And I think that whether you're a video game developer, a software dev, an artist, like there's just so many tools and resources at our disposal today that we didn't have previously. And you can literally start from zero and do the thing that you thought previously was impossible. You couldn't do. Now you can with just simply making that decision. And yeah, man, really appreciate you sharing. Really appreciate all the time today. And my apologies for keeping you so long.
That was fun, man.
But
dude, I'm happy to be here. I think you are an artist. I think everyone's an artist. You just haven't found your medium, or like this is an artistic medium. I've seen more creativity in some Excel spreadsheets than I have in some art pieces. You know what I mean? Like tinker, play. I think it's more a state of mind. It's tinkering, it's playing, it's experimenting, it's transmitting feelings from one person to another. You do that every day on your show. You know what I mean? Like you are an artist. You are an artist. So yeah, drop that line from your vocabulary, and yeah, put out a collection or two. Like it's or don't, or just make things for you. Make things for your daughter. Like it's fun, man. Like we are in a we're lucky to be here, all of us. So yeah, make things, put them out into the world, and you're doing that, man. You're doing that damn near every day. It's great.
Well,
it's great.
I'm gonna get everyone out of here because I'm gonna be sharing some stuff behind the curtain here in a second, and I want to be able to get out of here so the Phraze guest still has time to do that. But before I do the outro, shout out again to Doma, who has sponsored the Builder's Domain. We've had an incredible run from Spencer with Vibes and Moonbirds and the Claynos team and now Phraze. Really enjoying this series, and appreciate them supporting it and making it bringing it all to life, and kind of like talking about collaboration and going back and forth, like as we talk through like ideas how we could, I hope this is no offense to Doma, they're an awesome team and they got a great product, but I hope all of you enjoying this series, because it's like, hey, it's probably more exciting than hearing from the Doma team every single week. No offense to them, but new topics, new art, and we gave your music, which I truly do love. The soundtracks are great. But we also, before we do the outro, we gotta play one more time the Builder's Domain jingle, because it might be producer Payne's best work yet. So without further ado, this is the Builder's Domain with Phraze, brought to you by Doma XYZ. Go check them out at doma.xyz. They're tokenizing domains, bringing all that on chain. Speaking about RWAs, but this is the Builder's Domain brought to you by Doma, today featuring Phraze.
Yeah. Builders in motion, big ideas, moving out in the open. Screens glow, coffee in the cup, from the stage to the screen, watch it build up. New tools, new rails, new ways to move. Team locked in and the signal comes through. From the first spark to the thing that's real. Tell me what's next, tell me what's the bill, yeah. Tell me what's next, tell me what's the bill, yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time, like always. The reminder's pinned up top. If you've not yet hit that, you can smash it on the way out. Until then, hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone.